that same song. Okay, same song. Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sidebar Cantina, the podcast where we talk about Star Wars, pop culture, listening to the wrong music before the show, or whatever the fuck we feel like talking about. I am Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week, the Louis Strauss to my J. Robert Oppenheimer, Dave Martin.
No, it is not.
No,
it is not.
All right.
Without spoilers.
Yeah.
Is there really spoilers for something that happened in the past? As it happened?
I don't know. That would be an interesting question to ask somebody who hasn't seen Oppenheimer. Like,
Right.
if we just talk about like the real shit that happened in the dudes' lives, would you consider that a spoiler for the movie?
Right. I think the spoiler bit would be like how they presented it, I guess.
Yeah. Because there is stuff that when we get into the spoiler section that will,
Yeah, for sure.
We'll definitely expound. Expound? Is that the word?
Sure.
On?
Yeah, that's a good word.
Okay. Yeah.
Expound is a good word.
All right. Yeah. Excellent. So I guess there's no point in asking you what we're talking about today then, huh?
We're talking about Oppenheimer.
That's right. That's right.
Not Barbie.
No.
Not Barbie.
No.
For those of you who saw Barbie instead of Oppenheimer, you're listening to the wrong show.
Yeah, but for those of you that saw both, hey,
good on you, because you did good things for the.
Yeah, you saved Hollywood. Apparently.
You did good things through the theater this weekend.
Yeah. So we're talking about Oppenheimer today. It's gonna be a hell of a discussion. We'll just say that.
Yeah, and Ivo, good to see you. I feel like it's been a minute since you've been in the chat. And how many times did you have to leave to pee? While doing all that.
Oh, we're gonna talk about having to pee during this movie.
Yes,
but that's down the road. Why don't we take care of some business first before we start talking about all the good stuff?
You can talk about your business first.
All right. Well, you mean Patreon business?
Oh wait. There's a lot of spoilers happening in the chat right
now. Really? I saw somebody say, spoiler alert, the Titanic sank.
Right.
Darth Vader's Luke's father. No.
Apparently somebody's trying to mention that Snape kills Dumbledore.
Snake.
Or I guess maybe the snake. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Do we want to talk about Patreon?
You can talk about Patreon.
All right. Well, we'd love to give a huge shout out to all of our current patrons: Wally Frogmore, The Orange and Fetch Show, Steve Long, Shotgun Mark, Scott and Kim from the Use and Abuse podcast, Nicholas Schaefer, Nick from Swede Studios, my wonderful mother-in-law Patricia Goodstein, Lord Helmet Fire, Kristen Roscom, Janine Vickers, Ivo G, Frederick Martin, Frank Kalevich, Dragon Buddy, Don Solsky, David Schmuck, Chantal from Pop My Culture, Catherine Rennick, and Carly Vickers. If you'd like to consider becoming a supporter, you can find us at patreon.com/the Sidebar Cantina. Thank you again to all of our listeners and supporters. You are the reason why we do this.
You mentioned the Vickers clan.
Yes.
And I'm looking, I'm like, oh man, we've finally got their
the thing up, the pop,
the pop, you're prominently displayed, and my fucking giant dome is, of course, blocking it.
Yeah. So you'd have to move your head one way or the other and see. Oh, there it is. You see it over there?
Yeah, it's right here, right there,
right behind Dave's dome,
right behind my head, like you do. So, yeah, that was
poor planning,
a little bit on my part.
But
it fits so perfect in that spot. It's like it was meant to be there.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to just move the fucking table at some point. I don't know.
Maybe, but not today. I've moved enough shit.
No, definitely not today.
Yeah,
but we are going to talk about some of the space that you made.
Yeah. So did you kick to me for sidebar headlines?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Of course. That's exactly what I did.
So Luna Girl wants to shout out all of our followers on the socials
right now.
Yeah, so let's go. What do we have? Like 6,000 on our Instagram account. So
this is gonna be a long episode.
Buckle up,
folks.
kids. No, it's the past couple of weeks. She's received countless DMs with coffee memes. Had a short made about Sidebar by Greedo and Espeedo, which was actually pretty funny. Regarding her coffee memes in particular.
Mm-hmm.
So check that out on Instagram. And I think it's on TikTok too. TikTok too. Yeah, I just amused myself. Tags and shares and dozens of posts and had almost 200 participants in this week's poll. poll
Poll.
across 4 platforms. So she says thank you from the bottom of her heart, and we thank you, Jason and I,
See.
3PO, from the bottom of our hearts as well, because without you, what are we?
Yeah.
Just 2 schmucks sitting here in front of a fuck ton of toys. Look at it.
Yep.
Look how glorious it is.
And you can see some of the sacred
Jedi
have migrated more towards Dave's side of the room because
overtaking the sacred pops.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Hit the drop.
Oh yeah,
the sacred Jedi
pops.
Yeah, well, you can still hit the fucking drop, asshole. You might be taking up my space, but you can still hit the drop.
Sorry.
Anyway, drop her a DM on any of the Sidebar Cantina social media accounts. This is the stuff that makes her smile. So make her smile, goddammit. Also, shout out to Cassandra Olsen for all the San Diego Comic-Con pics. Yes. Thank you. Which got us a shout out on our Instagram account. The Lego had posted something because of our insider information at San Diego Comic-Con about the I think it specifically was the Lego Star Wars stuff that was posted about the Rebel base, like giving away the location of secret Rebel base. So very, very cool.
Yeah, the fact that the Legos actually the Lego Instagram account actually replied to something.
Yes,
it was Instagram, right? Or
it was Instagram.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. So
good job, Kelly.
Shout out to Luna Girl for maintaining all that and making us look good.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
All right. Well, since we're not talking about anything Star Wars, we don't have any Star Wars news or.
You know what? I'm actually supposed to also say, I think, as part of the sidebar headlines, because there's a second bullet point here.
Oh, that you missed.
There usually isn't.
Right.
But there's a second one here.
All right. Well, why don't you read it?
Because there's like a highlighted part, and then there's like a second thing.
Okay.
The sidebar's family celebration.
It's a celebration.
It's a celebration is just 25 days away.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, 25 fucking days.
Wow.
Yeah. There will be live streams from the event, Sabak, Magic the Gathering, a Star Wars escape room, live music from Big Swede, and so much more. Assuming Big Swede can fucking keep the nuts and bolts of his fucking truck together. Just a Chevy pickup truck, man. I don't know what you expect.
Yeah.
Anyway, it might be time to trade it in. Come chill with our ATSW family, plus the Escape Pod, plus Pop My Culture, plus Layman's Terms, plus Sweet Studios, and Stranger Things Has Happened, and probably others. On Saturday, August 19th, starting at noon, RSVP Luna Girl at the Sidebar Cantina on Instagram or at Sidebar Cantina on Twitter to let us know if you're interested. Stay tuned for details. There's some. I thought I saw Pop My Culture mention something about Twitter rebranding. What was that about? Like, is that a thing?
Twitter itself rebranding. Yeah. Well, at least if what I read is to be true, yeah, they're changing it to X, just calling it X instead of Twitter.
Okay.
I have no idea.
All right, whatever.
Yeah.
X.
The extreme.
X marks the spot. Yeah, because it worked out so well for the XFL.
Yeah.
Shows you how in touch with Twitter I am.
Yeah.
When I think
or apparently
about you, I touch myself.
You know, that lady died a few years ago.
What lady?
The lady that sang that song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from the Divinals.
Oh, the Divinals.
Yeah.
What did she die of? Touching herself?
No, cancer.
Oh. Fuck cancer.
Mm-hmm, indeed.
Hopefully she touched herself a lot before that happened.
I would imagine.
I mean, double clicking the mouse.
Yeah. Did we? That must have came out in like the late 80s because we never talked about that song when we did our music of the 90s.
We did not.
Yeah,
how could we have missed that one?
I don't know. That must have come out in like 88, 89.
I touch myself.
Yeah.
We're doing it such a great representation.
I know. So
can we move on? Can we get away from the woman who died of cancer from touching herself?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to our weeks because I have some more additions too.
The sacred Jedi.
Hey, can touching yourself give you cancer? That could be bad.
We'd all be fucking dead.
Yeah.
So anyway,
You hear it here first, kids. Masturbation causes cancer.
So, not true. Not true.
Somebody fact check that.
Jesus Christ. What the fuck were we talking about? Oh yeah, Black Series figures. So today is a lesson in shopping for our listeners.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm on the GameStop's website.
Okay.
Because the couple weeks ago
Is
I got
it the GameStop or just GameStop?
just GameStop.
Okay.
Like the Google,
The Google. Yes, I went to the Google.
Fuck. So I bought a bunch of stuff on clearance a few weeks ago. I decided to check their website, and some of the other Black Series figures that I didn't have yet, that I wasn't paying their fucking astronomical in-store prices for, went down significantly in price. So I went on the website, I bought 3 Black Series figures. The funny thing is if you go into the fucking store, they're still like the full price. And these figures that they pulled, because I did an online order and then I did in-store pickup for the one that's just right around the corner here. Because they had them all in stock, but at the lower price. So I go on the website, pay the lower price, in-store pickup. I go there. First of all, and I'll just show you, because they still got the fucking price tags on them. So this one, the KX security droid from Jedi Survivor, is they've got a $23 sticker on here. I got it for $14 online, and did the in-store pickup. Yeah, so that. And
that's funny. So you bought so what you're saying is you bought it online, right, and did in-store pickup. So that means that somebody in the store went on their own shelf, and grabbed it, put it in a bag for you to come get it.
And I got it for like what, $9 cheaper, just by paying the online price.
That's hilarious.
Same thing for this guy. So this guy is still $28. This is the Scout Trooper from Jedi Survivor, the guy with the shield. And I already have one of these, but again, it was $14. And I want this guy out of the package because I love fighting against these guys.
Oh yeah,
in Jedi Survivor, you fucking steal the shield from him.
Yep, I love taking the shield and fucking throwing it at them.
Yeah,
because then it's like sunk and it's
Yep, but again, $15 in the store, or no, $14 in online. But if you look at the fucking price tag, it's still $28. They charge a stupid amount of money for Black Series figures in the store in GameStop. And then the last one, this one I got for $16, but it was another fucking $28 figure if you buy it in the store. It's one of the battle droids from Jedi Survivor.
Nice.
Roger. So yeah,
I can't wait to talk about Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, it's coming in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you better. I can't wait.
Yeah, I've been playing through it. Trust me, any free time I'm getting, I'm putting into that fucking game.
All right.
So, but yeah, and we again, if Bronco Fett, if you're listening, we've got another one that we're opening this week. So.
Oh yeah, he dropped it in the chat.
Okay, good. So, oh, there it is. Yep. So yeah, Black Series figures. More this week. Something else I got new this week. Not many people really give a shit, but I mean, we got a new, me and Kristen each got new iPhones this morning.
Nice.
Yeah. So I got the iPhone 14 Pro Max.
Right.
So it's the really good one with like the super duper camera, and I'm excited.
Just in time for the iPhone 15 to come out.
Probably,
yeah.
But it's it was long overdue. I was still on the iPhone 8. My screen was almost unmanageable anymore due to all of the cracks and breaks and missing pieces, and
and the fact that you never update the iOS, so it probably barely worked as it was. So
yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, the IT guy doesn't fucking update his iOS ever.
I'm not an IT guy. I'm a cybersecurity guy. There's a big difference.
That's worse.
It's a big difference regardless of
worse,
whether or not it's worse. So anywho, got a new thing. Like I said, I've been crawling through Jedi Survivor. Any free time I get, I put some time into it. I have goals, right? It's like at a minimum every day I want to get to like at least the next save point.
Right.
So I'm slowly doing it because
find that meditation disc and fucking sit your ass down so it gets a fucking save.
Yep, pretty much. And the last thing that I have for my week is kind of funny. I told that old story about forgetting my anniversary. And then some guy reminding me it was that same day. So yesterday I'm at the gym. I've been going to the gym with my youngest son, Ben, for about a month now. Actually, we go 3 days every weekend, and I'm writing the date in the journal: Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
Because I'm off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so that's technically the weekend. So anyway, I write the date and I write what we do that day, and then I write all of our exercises, and I'm like, 23 July 2023. Fuck, it's my anniversary today. So when I got home, Kristen was awake. She was asleep when I left, but then she was awake. It's like, hey, happy anniversary, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it was one of those things where I'm writing the date. I'm like, July 23rd. Hey, that's my anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the new iPhones were our anniversary
yeah,
gifts to each other. So it was good.
Nice.
Yeah. But that's really it. I mean, I was thinking about it like, God, I didn't do a whole lot this week besides going to see the movie, you know?
Right.
So, which,
Yeah, and that was Saturday.
yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And again, we'll get into the movie itself after Dave talks about his week.
Yeah. So my week, you talk about journaling. So I'm reading a book recommended by Helmet Fire, written by Adam Savage, called Every Tool is a Hammer. No. Yeah, every tool is a hammer. And
A lot of innuendo in there.
yeah, there is. So, but Adam Savage, like, I've espoused his virtues on the show.
You've been on his nuts a lot over the years.
And like watching his YouTube channel and everything else. But he talks about like journaling and how he does lists and checklists and stuff. So I've been trying to do more journaling anyway, just because I'm trying to put a book together.
Sure.
So I'm taking the opportunity to like write stuff down as it comes. And plus it helps with therapy too. So I've been like doing the checklist bit, and he actually recommended a book too called specifically about checklists.
Okay, so what is it? What is the deal with the checklists?
So it's just about like, all right, if I'm going to do a project, let's say, like, so here's an example. Like if I'm doing a project, I'm going to make a checklist for all the things I need to do for that project. Right.
Okay.
So making a checklist and like kind of drawing shit out, like kind of like that. Right. So I keep this thing in my back pocket, and then as I'm thinking about it, you know, I'll draw stuff up, and you know, and you make the boxes next to it, and then the system is like, if you have something that's, you know, you've worked on but it's not fully complete, then you kind of just do half the box, because then, well, you know, you've actually worked on it at least a little bit.
Sure.
So you still have some progress to show. So it's been good. Because you know, my brain hasn't worked great lately. So writing the stuff down, it's the only thing that sucks about writing per se, is that my hands don't work great. So like holding the pen is problematic.
Yeah.
But the book is really good, I think, because Adam Savage, his career is like so interesting. Like it's just an interesting way to look at somebody with the ADHD that a lot of us have, right? And that have managed to work to our advantage, like for the most part, and having being involved in so much nerddom, right? And the cosplay and modeling and Star Wars and everything. It's very well documented, and just getting this kind of inside baseball and look on how he does his thing. It's very, very good. Definitely recommend it. And the way he describes how he makes lists and uses checklists and stuff like that. I mean, obviously we came from a world where checklists were everything.
Yeah, we lived and died by the checklist.
Yeah. So, and creatively making lists, I fucking hated it, because I always felt like it was somehow restrictive. Like, oh, if I'm making a list, then I'm not being creative. I just like, oh, I'm going to put this together, and I'm just going to just kind of go with that flow.
Sure.
And be creative with it. And then he actually speaks specifically about that, because he was the same way. And then like he kind of talked through it. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So it's very, very good. Highly recommend. But yeah, I see what you have, Luna girl. And no, wrist braces are the worst. It's not for me. Speaking of broken body and wrist braces and shit like that, so I've, again, well documented that my body is a shit wagon, but I continue to abuse it and do things I shouldn't be doing, like moving heavy shit. So this week I had the opportunity to relocate a century-old fucking table. It was like a kitchen table, and not like a table that you sit at. It's like a prep table. It's made out of butcher block, and when I say it's butcher block, it's like this thick. It's like almost 4 to 5 inches thick.
Jesus,
right?
Sounds heavy,
solid,
right?
And it's it's tabled width and 6 feet long. It was made in the 20s.
Wow.
Right. So the base of it is made out of steel pipes, steel shelving, like it's solid steel. Like it's heavy as fucking hell. Right. And it's put together in a way that's like, oh, I can break this down and take. No, you can't. No, you can't. So thankfully I had help to get it into, I used the Jeep as like into truck mode and got it into the back of the Jeep. And then from the Jeep, I got it home and had to get it from the house or from the Jeep into the fucking shed because I'm using it as a workbench.
Right.
And Jesus Christ, Jason, this thing is so fucking heavy.
Now, I would like to just point out, we do live like 12 minutes from each other. You could always call me and be like, hey, can you help me move this thing real quick?
But you know good goddamn well that would, all right, that would take time. You could live next door and I probably wouldn't ask. Like that part of it doesn't matter because in my brain, it's like, oh, I can do this.
Right.
It just is going to require some modicum of effort.
Yeah. And then there's going to be a lot of pain afterwards.
Right. I don't think about, I know the pain is going to be there regardless. So at least I've earned it. Right. It's a sadistic way of thinking about it, but that's unfortunately, that's the way my brain still works. So fast forward to yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Because Saturday we saw the movie. So yesterday, Kathy found a piece of furniture on Marketplace, right? So we're like, okay, cool. Go over to get this piece of furniture, and go to this person's house, and it's like, oh, okay, here it is. It's downstairs, and apparently these people had bought this house, and who they bought it from had left a bunch of furniture. So they're trying to just get the furniture out of the house. Okay, cool. Heavy as fuck. It's like this big, like Thomasville furniture, fucking, 55-inch long, 3 foot high, 16-inch, glass doors, fucking, wood doors on either side of it.
Sure. Yeah.
Heavy fucking piece of furniture. Right. So when we pull up, there's a dude mowing his lawn. He's mowing the lawn out front, and his wife is there with their kid. And, they go in the house. And so I'm like, okay, let's see how heavy this thing is. So I kind of move it a little bit. And the guy is not even making an attempt to like come over to help.
Right.
Not even a little bit. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird, but all right.
As he's watching you try to haul this.
I haven't even started moving yet. And so then I asked, like, hey, do you guys have any like moving tape? Because I wanted to tape the doors and stuff shut because I knew I was going to have to fucking stand this thing up.
So they don't like flop open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then this fucking, this dude goes and they gets me this fucking like dollar store duct tape. Like, all right, whatever. That's fine. Whatever. So I use it. I'm trying to be nice. Right, Kathy's talking to the wife or whatever, and the dude is just standing there with his thumb up his ass. Okay, so now I'm moving a thing, and so I pick it up, right? I stand it up on its side, and I start moving it over towards the stairs, right? So I have a few stairs to move up, like literally 3 stairs.
Mm-hmm.
So now I gotta get it up on over these 3 stairs onto a landing. Got to maneuver it around the landing to get it out the door. Again, this dude hasn't even moved. So finally, I get it on the landing, and then the guy finally is like, "Oh, let me get the door." Right?
Oh,
so
geez, thanks.
He goes and gets the door, and then fucking goes and is like, "Oh, well, hang on a minute. Let me move the lawnmower," because he had left the lawnmower in the middle of the yard. I'm like, well, that's considerate. And then he goes and moves the lawnmower, and then he comes back, and then I think Kathy ends up opening the door. And meanwhile, now I have to get this thing. I'm trying to deadlift it out of the house, and not like I'm doing my best not to fucking drag it at all on the concrete steps. So I marked it up a little bit, but I got it to the fucking front yard, and I ended up just putting it on its top and just pushing it, well, pulling it technically, across the lawn, and then having to stand it back up, deadlift it into the street, then put it into the back of my Escape, push it into there.
Mm-hmm. All while
this dude, like, at one point, once we got it out of his house, he didn't even watch me fucking, he went over and started talking to his neighbor. Right? So, okay. Let me unpack this for a second. I was irritated yesterday. I was more pissed off about it today. Because it's like I asked you about it, right? Before the show. When we were doing stuff in the studio, and we were just kind of talking about it. And common courtesy.
Yeah.
Common courtesy is like it. Like, I get it. If you told me, like, oh man, dude, I blew out my back, or at my job, I fucked up my back and I can't. I'd love to help you, but I can't. Let me do what I can do.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
If you tell me something like that, I'm like, dude, I get it. No problem at all. Like, call it common courtesy, call it whatever. But standing there watching me deadlift this fucking like 300-pound piece of furniture.
Yeah, even if
I have no fucking words to describe how fucking pissed off that made me.
Yeah.
Like, I just, where is your manhood? Like, I'm doing this in front of your old lady.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right? I'm like, oh, look at what I can do, you fucking pussy. Right? Like, do you feel better about yourself? Like, and look, I'm not the healthiest dude in the world, but I can still do stuff.
Sure.
I just have to pay a penalty for it. Like, that's just how it works with Dave. But I can still do things. And I can do things like that, even though I shouldn't. Just shut up, doctors who are listening. So, but still, if you're fucking standing there, you don't tell me that you have an injury or something that you can't help, and you're just I'm in your house getting this thing out of there. And if you've made a conscious decision, like, oh, look, I'm not going to hurt myself doing this, cool, tell me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, I can't afford to hurt myself. Dude, I got you.
Yeah.
He's like, look, we're getting this for free, right? Whatever you can do to help me get this out of your house, like, without hurting yourself, I'm all for it. Whatever you can do.
Yeah.
Fucking verbalize that shit. Don't just stand there like a fucking asshole and watch me deadlift your fucking furniture by myself. And Kathy was there, and, chauvinistic or not, she wasn't there to help me lift this thing. She was there to basically interact with these people, because she was doing all the stuff on Marketplace, and I was there to do the heavy lifting. Like, her back is a mess. She needs to fucking be able to use her, like, stand there and use her back to fucking work.
Yeah.
Her back goes out, she can't work. So no, want you even trying to pick this up.
Yeah.
Right? That's your livelihood. If I fuck up my back for some reason, I can still sit at a fucking computer. Right? With her job, she has to be able to fucking stand there and do her work.
Yeah.
So
100%.
sense. And his wife, school teacher, whatever her situation is, again, don't expect her to be deadlifting furniture either. But you're a fucking dude. You're a fucking dude that you obviously can walk. Yeah. I watched you walk. I was watching you mow your grass. I watched you walk into the house. I watched you get around. Like, I didn't see any obvious limp. I mean, I'm doing my assessment of you and the threat and everything else. So I have a pretty good idea what your capabilities are. And I'm looking at you as somebody who probably was able-bodied enough where you could have at least fucking grabbed an end of this thing and helped me fucking get out of your house.
Sure.
And you chose to do nothing.
Yeah, again, because like you said, it's common courtesy at that point.
Yeah. So, you know what? I'm just putting it out there. Right? That somebody should be going and pulling this dude's man card, because for me personally, like, I'd have to be in pretty bad shape not to not offer myself and help out.
Of course.
And I'm a giant fucking asshole, and I avoid social contact as much as I possibly can. Yeah. But if Kathy had somebody come over and say, hey, they're going to take this piece of furniture, be like, and I'm going to fucking help. And if I can't help for some reason, then I'm ghost.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to stand there and fucking watch.
Right.
Because it's wrong. It's wrong for me to stand there and watch you do shit. I'm going to eat a sandwich while you're watching you work. Yeah. What the fuck kind of shit is that? Who does that? Who does that?
No man that I know of.
Fuck that dude.
Yeah.
God, I should have fucking... That shit fucking pissed me off. Like I said, it pissed me off more today. I expected it to be like, that's fine, whatever. But no, I was actually more pissed about it today. Probably because my back and shit hurts today. Yeah. More since I was it's always like anything else when you're working out. It's like it's never the day of. It's always a couple days after. Thank God for Motrin. Yeah, shit on the doormat tomorrow. Yeah, but he probably would know it's me.
Right.
They probably have Ring cameras and shit like that. I don't need that coming back at me, especially after a rant about it on fucking a podcast. But
yeah,
I just think that there's such a thing as a social contract, and that's one of the things. Like, you're a dude. If you can go out and push your fucking lawnmower, right, and you can do things. Right, and you got somebody coming over to take a piece of furniture out of their house, like, you don't even make an effort to move it from where it is in the fucking house.
Yeah.
Right? And I can come over there and I can pick it up and I can move it from one side of your house to the fucking other by myself. You couldn't have moved it at all? Couldn't even tried?
I mean,
are you fucking kidding me?
Even if I thought you could handle it on your own, I'd still ask the question, like, hey, do you want some help?
Yeah, I don't know. And look, I have a lot of experience moving shit by myself, and I have a lot of experience just moving shit in general. I mean, Jason's seen me do dumb shit, moving things I'm not supposed to. Like, it's a thing, and I know that I do it. But this guy didn't know that.
Right. This
guy had no idea what I'm capable of or what stupidity I can do with my body. Like, he knows now,
right?
Because he watched me fucking do it. But God damn it, I'm just, oh man, it fucking bothers me. It just bothers me that these humans exist, and he's younger than us.
Yeah,
like, this is not a Gen Xer. This is not somebody who had to figure shit out on their own. Right. This was somebody who just didn't get it. It's just like.
Well, put a pin in that, because I'm going to have something on that when you're done with your week.
All right. So anyway, I'm going to finish my week on a high note. So my reward for moving furniture and doing all kinds of stuff, actually, before the furniture issue even happened, is my amazing wife, who loves me very much, had bought me a gift.
Yes.
And this gift this amazing gift sounds a little bit like this. That was loud.
Yes, it was.
So this is the Black Series Flex whatever.
The sacred Jedi.
Yeah. It is Vader's lightsaber,
Yes.
and it is one of the sexiest things I've ever had in my hands.
Yeah.
It is so fucking perfect. I like. I've handled Jason's lightsabers. That's not a euphemism. But this is like the machined aluminum and just the way it's put together. It's just art.
Yes.
And it's so awesome.
And it, it's got the clashing whenever you
Whoops.
whenever you smash them together.
And when I keep it on. Dude, and one of my favorite things about this, honestly, like I don't know if you can see it on YouTube, like it has like the highlighted section, but when I put it on the ground, or I could probably do it. No, I don't know. But like the end of it, like you can, when it hits the ground, you can kind of like, it'll look like it's sparking on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's not even like, so what's really cool to me is like, all right, I would take the blade off. All right. It's got this like lock nut that you pop off, right? So, all right, bladeless, cool. And I can put the crystal, right? There's the crystal. Put my kyber crystal into here. So when the blade is in, the blade's in by itself. The kyber crystal's not in there. So if you're just doing for display purposes only, you put the kyber in there, get it set, and lock it back down. Like so. And then, right, you get this perfectly balanced fucking awesomeness. And then when you turn it on, you get this sound, and then the kyber glows inside it.
Yeah.
So you can see it. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see there's like a glowing red dot, and that's the kyber crystal that's glowing inside it. So if figure it to be canon, right? So this is a Black Series. So I would assume this is canon. So what Luke should have saw when he fucking turned on the fucking baby killer is
he's like looking inside,
looking dead inside the fucking the tube of the emitter, and he
should have seen that kyber crystal in
yeah,
there.
you should have seen that fucking kyber crystal in there like that, and I just blinded myself for no fucking reason. But man, this is so awesome, and my wife is the best.
Can I hold it one more time?
Yes, yeah, get in there.
Yes.
There, get some.
That
It's
metal feeling.
oh, dude, I'm when Jason came back from his adventure down at Galaxy's Edge and at the Star Cruiser, it like the lightsaber he made and
The build your own.
the build your own, and like fuck man, I was just not expecting it to be so robust. And then with this too, I was hoping it would be. And then when I got it out of the box, I'm like, oh motherfucker, it's just so it's has substance, the wires that you can see.
That's a great detail that they added in there.
They're rubber wires. You expect to see the wire gauge actually written on it, for God's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just I'm super happy with it.
And so what's the plan? You're going to display it on your desk at work, or?
So it's probably going to travel with me a little bit, probably to work. Yeah, probably to work for at least a few days.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to be at home. So with this new piece of furniture that we ended up getting, I had to bring it into the house by myself, of course, and then I had to bring it downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
and we got it set up downstairs. So, and Kathy's vision for this furniture downstairs was to have some stuff displayed.
Right.
And her recommendation was, oh, you could have some Lego stuff displayed with some backlighting. I'm like, I love everything about this idea. So, yeah, this might have to be incorporated into some of that.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm fucking. It's awesome. I'm going to be playing with it all episode by the by. But yeah, it was a great beginning to my week. So things can only go downhill from here, but at least I have this.
Well, hopefully we can help make that happen.
Yes. Help
Nice.
Things go downhill. Yes.
So, okay, well, let's go ahead and start that because there was one other thing I wanted to bring up and I forgot about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Did you see this person from TikTok who went viral this last week because she was at a job interview and asked if they made accommodations for people with time blindness?
What?
Time blindness is people who can't keep track of time and who are constantly late, according to Gen Z. So this girl is at a job interview and she's like, yeah, do you make accommodations for people who were time blind and who were habitually late? And she, of course, obviously got laughed out of the fucking building. And she made a TikTok where she's crying, talking about her condition and how it's very upsetting that they don't make accommodations for that. I shit you not. I want to just do this once a week. Just like throw one of these stories at Dave. That's just so it's like you can't even make this shit up. But yeah, this is a new thing with Gen Z. If you're a time blind person, you don't have the ability to be on time.
Listen, it's not just, well, here's the thing. It's not just a Gen Z thing. It's a whoever wants to buy into this bullshit thing, and so many other people just hop on along with it. Mm-hmm. Look, we know damn well that there's fucking the generation previous to ours has a bunch of fucking dumb issues.
Mm-hmm.
We could talk about that at fucking length. God, we should be drinking.
I know, right?
God damn it. Time blindness. And
USA Today did an article about it 3 days ago, and they're talking like, oh yeah, but it is a real thing.
Time blindness.
Yeah.
The first fucking airman that shows up in my office and says something about time blindness, I'm going to hit him with a baseball bat.
Yeah, it's like...
Then they're going to be really blind.
It just shows you the state of the world at this point, or at least of our country. But yeah, I just want to do this once a week where I just throw one of these at Dave just to get him all spun up.
Time blindness. Accommodations for time blindness.
Yeah.
So people with like actual disorders that need to have accommodations now get to suffer because people
can't be
making shit up, ask for ridiculous stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's the state of where we're at.
Right. Time blindness.
All right. So yeah, I had to. It was just, I had to throw that out there. All right, are we ready to move on to our main topic?
Bottle of Jack Daniels is calling to me right now.
Dave's ready to just drink himself stupid.
Yeah. Why do I have a migraine all of a sudden? What just happened?
Minor stroke, nothing to worry about. All right, so we ready to talk some Oppenheimer?
Yes.
All right, well, let's talk about it. So,
assuming time blindness doesn't overtake me.
Right. So we'll throw out our spoiler-free thoughts first.
Sure.
Just if there is anybody that's watching right now that hasn't seen the movie that intends to, we'll give a quick spoiler-free overall thoughts on the movie, and then we'll go into spoilers and other discussions. So, are you still mad about the time blindness?
How the fuck? How do you rat?
It's a different generation, man.
It's not just. But I can see other generations
Like
trying to
people-
rationalize it the same way.
Like people our age?
Some people are just fucking late. And somebody would glom onto this as a fucking excuse if they put this out there that this is a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I have an excuse for being late all the time? Fuck, this is the best. I have time blindness.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do know people who have always been like habitually late. There were some people I worked in the Air Force who were like that.
Right.
But they got, LOCs and shit like
Right.
that. It's like, no. It's
Because
not.
being on time is important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God.
I bet you the Chinese military doesn't accept time blindness as a reason for their people being late.
Time blindness. Oh, my God. I need to see some. I need to see some of this research that's being done.
Yeah, well, you need to watch the video first. You need to find the original video that this chick put out. And watch it.
No, I don't, because that would just like the hate. It would make the hate so much stronger.
And then look at this USA Today article. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, laziness in Bulgaria. Yeah, I'm sure that's the word.
It's what we would have all called it a year ago.
Or I think Carly earlier in the thing called it just being stoned. Sure, that's an excuse. Sure, I get
It's
it.
not a valid excuse, but
You're time blind when you're stoned. Sure, like the clock just doesn't look right. Like, oh fuck, I can't see the clock. I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm time blind.
right. Yeah.
Jason, why did you do this to me?
See, I meant to do that before we started our weeks, but then we had gotten started. I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot to bring this up, so I had to do it at the end.
God damn it. Anyway, Oppenheimer. Let's talk about Oppenheimer.
All right, Oppenheimer. So, spoiler-free thoughts. For me, the movie was fucking fantastic. Honestly, like, and I'm not a big, like, historical type person. Like, I'm not
Right.
big into history and all this shit is like I know you are and a lot of other people are. So, like, the initial concept of the movie did not appeal to me until I saw that first fucking trailer.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh my God, this looks incredible. And then I saw it, and yeah, the movie just, like, fucking just blew me away. Unbelievable. And for a 3-hour movie, it was the fastest 3-hour movie I've ever sat through, quite frankly, because there is so much going on. The way he tells this story between like multiple layers of fucking flashbacks and just like constantly jumping back and forth between scenes and timelines and everything, it's like, fuck. Like he did it in a way to kind of keep you engaged throughout most of the movie, at least until up to the test. After that, it tapers off a little bit, but I was still very intrigued by everything that happened after, the Trinity test. Now I know, Rob got a little bit bored after that. But like for me, I found the whole thing intriguing because I didn't know the whole story. So
Right.
I'm hearing a lot of this for the first time.
Well, and the actual test itself too was it's not like it happened right away. Like, no, I guess it's just more of a spoiler, but they don't start the movie with like, oh, here's the test and here's his life story.
Yeah.
There is some timing involved in it where it
builds.
it builds and it's suspenseful, and I think that's what makes it so good.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I really enjoyed it. It was way better than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I expected it to be good.
Yeah.
Why I expected it to be good, I have no idea. Maybe because it was Christopher Nolan. Maybe because
He's got a good track record.
intrigued by the storyline. And being as somebody who's a student of history. And honestly, it's one of the most important things that has ever happened in history.
Yeah.
Period.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and you can't discount the fact that it really comes down to one man,
Yeah.
right? Because yeah, it took a lot of people to develop this, but they get into that, and I think what this movie does really well is it tells the story of how this one man gets to that position, and then also how he has to deal with it.
Yeah, afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, and even during, like, because he does have to come to terms with everything, and yeah. Yeah, we're doing spoiler free.
Yeah, and Nicole in the chat said something that I was going to bring up later, but yeah, like this has Oscar written all over it. The movie itself, the performances, Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. both just fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Like unbelievable performances. And really everybody involved, like all these other like small roles, like they were all just done so well.
Oh yeah, what's her nuts? Fucking, oh god, I can't think of her name right now. Shit.
Who, the wife or the girlfriend?
The wife.
What was her name? Oh, Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt. Thank
Yeah.
you. Jesus, I'm thinking fucking John Ryan's wife, which is anyway.
Who's John Ryan?
The guy from The Office, who's I think it's John Krasnick.
Oh, Jack Ryan? Is that who you meant to say?
His real name is John. All right, just anyway, we got the name. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Yeah, I agree with you. All the performances were really well done.
Yeah, I could see at least 3 or 4 people being nominated for individual acting awards between lead and supporting acting roles.
Yeah, it was a provocative movie.
Yeah.
Like, you are meant to be in this movie, and it is meant to provoke emotions from you.
Yeah, oh yeah, which it does. It most certainly does.
So, and we'll get into that more when we get to spoilers. But the other thing I will say is that if you're looking for a movie about the science, then you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, they really gloss over like the specifics when it comes to the science.
Yeah, this is not a movie about the science.
Yeah.
And if I had any kind of disappointment at all, and actually this at the very same time that we were watching it on Saturday, Helmet Fire and his wife were seeing it in a different theater, and he had said the same thing. It was, if there was any disappointment at all, it was the lack of the science element to it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like what we're into. It didn't lessen the movie at all. It's just, if I was expecting anything, I was expecting a little bit more science out of it.
Sure.
But they replaced anything the vacuum that would have been there with the science. They replaced it with so much of what was going on in their lives leading into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the interpersonal stuff that was happening that most people had no idea. Yeah. It was really, really good. And there's a reason I think that it's doing record numbers in the box office. And it's not just because it's sitting next to Barbie in the theater.
Which we're going to talk a little bit about that too. But, and yeah, I'll just say this as the last spoiler-free thing. If you can, watch this in IMAX, for the love of God.
Yeah.
It was fucking gorgeous. And we saw it in the dumbed down IMAX,
Right.
where the true experience is apparently the 70 millimeter IMAX, but there's only like 33 of them in the whole country.
Right.
Which we're located pretty close to one, but still.
It's a hard ticket to get, as you found out.
Because, I'm looking at next weekend showings for Oppenheimer in this 70 millimeter theater that's like 30 miles from here. Every showing sold out. First thing in the morning, late at night. They don't even let you get to the point where you pick a seat. It's like, no, the show's sold out. Yeah. It's like, fuck. So,
and who knows how long it's actually going to run in there.
Right. Because, I mean, the movie releases aren't stopping.
It's a 70 millimeter film. Now, it's go find yourself a like you said, a dumbed down IMAX.
Yeah, because it was still really good in that.
Yeah, it pays to just for the sound, like the sound elements that you're going to get out of that, because that's part of the IMAX experience is the sound.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're going to want that. You know, not just for the most obvious parts either.
Yeah.
There's some real subtle parts that the sound is going to be important for.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah, you know, I think our unanimous recommendation is to go see this movie in the theater.
Yes,
while you
absolutely.
have a chance.
Yeah, it's purely a theatrical experience that you want to have.
Yeah. But that being said, if you are hesitant because you're a bit concerned with how you're going to feel about, you know, certain things because of how the making of the bomb or its results, you know, how you feel about that, then take that into account.
Sure.
Because it is a true telling of this man's story and leading up to these events.
Mm-hmm.
So it's meant to provoke those thoughts. So if you're trying to avoid that, then I wouldn't recommend going to see this because it's meant to provoke those emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be effective at doing so. So temper that. But yeah, highly recommend going to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. So from here on out, it's spoiler talk. So if you don't want to be spoiled,
Yes.
this would be your time to tune out of the YouTube
Spoilers!
or pause that
Spoilers right now.
that audio
We're gonna have
podcast.
spoilers.
Yes.
Insert spoiler music right now.
I think we're just gonna cut that, and that's gonna be our
Spoilers.
All right, very good. So something else, real quick about the IMAX. We saw the Dune 2 trailer.
Yes.
Well, it was a different trailer. It was like an IMAX specific trailer for Dune 2, and it's like, oh my god, this is amazing.
I can't fucking wait
Yeah.
for this fucking movie.
Yeah.
I was excited about seeing Oppenheimer again, like strangely for basically a biopic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Dune 2, fucking your boy Bob. He made a comment during the trailer about like, you know, it doesn't even have Sting in it or some shit like that. I was like, I was ready to turn around and throat punch him. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, apparently he thought the first Dune was boring.
Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he was trolling or what.
Probably.
But, dude.
Because, yeah, we saw the movie. It was the two of us, our friend Bob, who's been on the show many times.
Yes.
And then my oldest son, Rob.
Yes. And Bob, I think he was trying to troll because Jason and I were obviously excited about the trailer.
Yeah.
And during the trailer, he was making comments, and I just was like, I'm going to shut you up now. I'm going to turn you off.
Yeah.
But saying that, the trailer was just adding fuel to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And to address what he said about the first part being boring, as somebody who knows the fucking story frontwards and backwards, yeah, it's set up.
Yeah.
It's all set up. The entire part one of Dune is set up for what's going to happen in fucking part two.
Yeah.
That's how this story works. I mean, and I'm pretty sure that Lord of the Rings was the same way. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all set up for what the fucking
It's
ultimately
walking.
is going to happen.
3 movies about people walking to a fucking volcano.
That's right. Exactly. So just calling it like I see it. It's
Yeah.
it's going to be fucking great. And the fact that we have to wait till November is fucking killing me.
Well, and you know what else upsets me is the fact that, you know, I missed the first Dune in theaters. Like that, you know, we saw it on HBO Max after the fact, but God, I would have loved to have seen the first one in theaters. Part 1, whatever you want to call it. Not the original, not the 80s one.
I was going to say, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, I'm talking, you know, Dune Part 1. God, I'm so mad I missed that in theaters. I doubt they'll do a re-release before the new one, but you never know.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows what the state of Hollywood's going to be, you know, come November. They might be like, hey, we really need people to go out into theaters because of strikes or whatever.
Well, yeah, and AMC apparently is doing terribly right now business-wise. I guess they're like trying to file for bankruptcy, and like they just made an announcement a couple days ago, like if they don't get their bankruptcy approved, then they're gonna like fucking run out of money in the next couple weeks.
Wow.
So yeah, all kinds of shit going on in the movie theater business. But it's fucking crazy because this weekend was like a record weekend for box office between fucking Barbie and Oppenheimer. They fucking destroyed it. You know, but Oppenheimer it came in second. It was expected to, but they were expecting it to bring in like 50 million, brought in 80 something over the weekend. Barbie made like 150 something over the weekend. So it was like just a fucking massive weekend for movies. And you hope that this helps keep these theaters, afloat.
I guess. I mean, can one weekend make or break a huge? I mean, AMC is one of the biggest theater houses in the fucking country.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, God,
I don't know, but I tell you what though. So we joked about the fucking Barbie thing, right? But like the fucking hype out there was legit. Like I was not. Because obviously we're men, we didn't have Barbies or anything. Like my sister had Barbies, whatever.
Right.
I didn't give a shit about it. Like I did not realize the fucking level of hype that was out there for like women and girls. Because at the fucking, when we saw Oppenheimer, there were all kinds of girls there. They were all dressed in fucking all pink. They were fucking super excited. I did see some people with Barbenheimer shirts on. It was like the mushroom cloud, but it was pink and it said Barbenheimer under it. Jesus. There was like 4 people wearing that shirt.
Somebody's marketing the shit out of it.
But then when I went to go pick up my Black Series figures from GameStop yesterday, which the GameStop over here is right next to the Cinemark, fucking the parking lot was packed. I have never seen that parking lot like just be completely filled with cars.
Wow.
Like end to end. I go into the fucking GameStop and there's like 6 girls in there about to go to the Barbie movie. Again, all dressed in fucking pink head to toe. And when I say girls, I mean they're in like their like 20s or 30s probably. But it's just like this massive demographic of girls and women that I guess were super excited for Barbie. And yeah, I did not think that it was that big of a deal, but it made a shitload of money this weekend. And I saw firsthand, like just the excitement.
Good.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No, it just sucks.
I hope that people got out of it what they were hoping, because I don't have any idea what it's about.
All I heard is it's a bunch of feminist man-hating shit, but whatever. Whatever floats your boat, I guess.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Wear pink. Hopefully it's supporting something.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully some of that money supports like breast cancer awareness or something.
Well, from what I've heard, now Mattel is already like, oh, we gotta like whore out all the rest of our properties. I hear there's a Hot Wheels movie in production now, and a couple of other movies based on their fucking toy properties. So,
God, dude, I swear to Christ, if I have to, so I've been in a movie theater how many times with you this year? Twice now, right?
At least, yeah.
So it's twice as many times as I was at the theater like last year.
Right.
Well, no, 3 times.
Was the Batman this year?
Yeah.
No, that was last year.
No, we saw the new Batman, or we saw the Flash.
Yeah.
So we saw, why the fuck did that word just pop in my head?
What word?
The gynecologist, which is not. What?
We did not go to a gynecologist.
No,
Dave.
it was Rogue One. Was what I was thinking.
That's right, the Rogue One re-release.
But gynecologist came into my head. What the fuck?
What's wrong with you?
I don't know, man. That's some weird fucking synapse that
two wires accidentally crossed, shorted out together.
Yeah, so we saw the gynecologist, and then we saw the Batman thing. That wasn't the Batman
the
thing.
The
Flash, and then then we saw fucking Oppenheimer.
Yeah, and we're gonna see Dune.
Yep. So I've actually been to the movies a lot this year, and I usually don't see more than a Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
a year.
I'm in the same boat, and I've been to a shitload of movies this year. I've been to more than you have this year, because I've also seen shit like the Dungeons and Dragons movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, and just like for some reason I've been going to the movies far more this year than all the previous years combined.
Yeah, wonder if that's isolated to us. It's kind of weird, right?
Yeah,
it's weird. Is anybody else going to the movies? We're the gynecologist.
Like, Lunar Girl, put a poll on her Instagram. Where did you go this week? The movies? Gynecologist. Or both.
That's the new word for the movies.
So before we move on from the
This is
gynecologist, the last thing I want to do is Luna Girl did put up some polls over the weekend.
Yes, some polls, please.
And
some tent polls.
you know, she was basically asking the question of all of our followers, like Barbie or Oppenheimer, right?
Right.
So first on TikTok, it was Barbie won 55 votes to 41. Still fairly even though, but TikTok, you would imagine, has got to lean heavily female. So the fact that Barbie won on TikTok, that just seems like a no-brainer.
I mean, the ratio of just people in general that have seen Barbie compared to Oppenheimer would lend that anyway.
That is true. Yeah. So that would make sense. On Facebook, it was a lot different. Oppenheimer got significantly more votes than Barbie did. On Instagram, again, Oppenheimer far more than Barbie, like 60% said Oppenheimer, 13% said Barbie, 27% why not both, 0% said neither. So, and I'm sure so many people saw both. And then going on to Twitter, Oppenheimer again won 46% to 8% over Barbie, but then you had 23% that said why not both, and then another 23% that said neither. So, yeah, it was an interesting split. TikTok, Barbie won, but then Oppenheimer won everywhere else. And you know what? I think that could just be due to which gender dominates that space.
Yeah.
So,
but again, we're talking about a good weekend for the movies in general.
yeah.
I would love to get us back. It'd be nice to see the bar swing the other way, right? That we go back to like, hey, the movies is an experience again.
Yeah.
Like, let's make movies.
Yeah.
So that you can go to the movies for an experience. What's really funny is like that Mission Impossible movie came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
and
last
doing
week.
Death Defying and all that shit, and it
Yeah.
didn't do shit.
Yeah, it dropped down to like number 4 this weekend.
Yet what would ordinarily I would think be a very, very controversial movie like Oppenheimer probably did far better than Mission Impossible did.
Yeah, yeah. It's probably going to end up making more in the long run. Like I don't think they were expecting Mission Impossible to fall that far, but at the same time, it was just such a jam-packed weekend. Yeah, hopefully it bounces back. And this is, of course, a part 1. I think they've already filmed the second one, so there's no going back at this point. Just, you got to find a less packed weekend to release the shit.
It's one of those where you start becoming a victim of your own fucking hype.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like, stop. If you're Mission Impossible and you're hyping up one fucking stunt to the point that now that's the entire fucking movie. You've shown me your movie already.
Yeah.
Now I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I might have been interested in because I like Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
I like what he does. And the Mission Impossible movies aren't the worst. They are what they are. They're popcorn movies.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, okay, I might have gone and seen your fucking movie.
Yeah.
But then every other time I'm in the fucking theater, I'm seeing a fucking something about this one goddamn stunt, or I'm seeing it on Instagram. I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Fuck your movie. Just backing up.
It's the weird sounds of my neighborhood. I'm sure they're
It's
not
happening at fucking 6 almost 7 at night.
Yeah, I have no idea. So something else I wanted to
And Iva really wants me to pee. But I don't have to go yet.
yeah.
Apparently he wants to go.
Well, speaking of peeing, why don't we talk about that? Because
Yes, that's good timing.
So like I tried to strategically pee like 5 minutes before the movie started, right? Which was really 5 minutes before the preview started.
Right.
So I go and I pee and I come back and like previews had just started. So I'm like, yes, this is great. The problem was I went to the gym that morning. So when I go to the gym in the mornings, I drink a shitload of water. I also had a shitload of coffee that morning because I always have to have my like 2 cups of coffee before I do anything in the day. So I had 2 cups of coffee, went to the gym, drank 2 fucking water bottles worth of water, went to breakfast with Rob, had some more coffee. So I had already drank a lot by the time we got to the theater at 10 a.m.
Uh-huh.
So I go use the bathroom before. Previews are going. We're nearing the start of the movie. I'm like, I have to pee again. Like we had gotten through the previews to the point where I'm like, I have to fucking pee again.
Right.
So I waited another, I don't know, half hour into the movie, 40 minutes maybe, and then I went up and peed again. Then I was good for the rest of the movie. But yeah,
Yeah.
3 hour runtime. I knew there was no chance I was making it to the end.
Yeah, I did not follow the Jason rule of going right before.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, no, I'm gonna drink an entire large soda.
And this is movie theater large.
Yeah.
These big fucking
Yeah.
tubs of soda.
And I just drank a fucking 32-ounce soda before I got into the theater.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do, because I don't drink coffee. I drink my Diet Coke.
Yep.
And I did so before I got into the theater. And then I sat down and I drank an entire, movie theater fucking soda and did not pee the entire time. Like, I held it. I had to go.
Yeah.
I could have went,
Uh-huh.
but I'm like, no, I don't want to fucking miss anything. And it was like this with, with Batman too, or
The Flash.
Flash. Although, no, I think I got up during the Flash, because I think it got to a point I'm like, nah, I can miss this part. I'm all right.
Yeah.
What was there was another, it was the Batman,
Yeah. Yeah.
where it was like, it had a huge runtime.
Yeah, that was like a 3 hour movie also.
Or I don't think I got up for that. So I can hold it uncomfortably. It's kind of like driving. You know how when you're driving, you're taking a long drive and you're like, I'm not fucking stopping.
Yeah.
Not stopping. And then all of a sudden you're like, I feel like I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to like give myself some sort of fucking disorder if I don't pull over and pee on something right now. Which thankfully we
Specifically
can do.
pee on something. That's...
Yes, on something. Either that's going to be on a urinal or a toilet or on the side of the fucking road. One or the other. This pee is getting out of me.
Yeah.
So, and Ivo would really like to pee,
I'm sure he would.
but I'm not ready yet. Maybe I'll have some more Diet Coke and we'll help
Yeah.
Ivo out.
So another thing that I took away from this, I actually want to see this again in IMAX before it leaves theaters. But
Right.
again, looking ahead, I looked at showings for the next week, and it's hard to get fucking tickets, even at the local IMAX that we went to.
I can tell you that I'm not really. Oh, he wants to smoke. Now go to the bathroom. That's fine. I'm good. I
Yeah.
don't need to see it in the theater again. I'd probably watch it again, but I don't need to see it in the theater again.
Okay.
Because as we're going to get into when we talk more like detailed about the movie itself, there was definitely some provocative stuff in there that was like, okay, I don't need to be in public for this again.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I don't need to.
Was it Florence Pugh's titties?
It was not. It was not. That was fine.
Okay.
Gratuitous, TNA was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Yeah, it just, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. But I'm not desperate to see it again in the theater.
They were real and they were spectacular. Somebody in the chat was asking about Florence
Yes.
Pugh's
Yeah, and I know people are upset by it. Like some people, I saw.
upset.
Yeah, I saw there were articles upset by the nudity, that it was superfluous and it didn't belong in the movie and blah blah blah. I don't know. It just, you're telling a story about somebody's life and the guy was having an affair with this woman, and their existence was based on that, and
Yeah, on fucking. That's
this is-
it.
this
They
is
had
what-
this arrangement.
yeah,
you know?
this is what they did.
Yeah.
So
she basically made the booty call. She's
Right.
like, I want the D. Come over now.
right,
And that's what it was.
you'd always said you'd answer.
Yeah.
So
Like she was literally making booty calls.
right, and he fucking
And he obliged.
with his fucking TS clearance.
Oh my god. We're gonna get into the fucking clearances
All right.
at some point, but oh my god. Yeah. So fuck, what were we talking about before we got off on Florence Pugh's titties?
I don't know, but Pop My Culture says that they weren't that great.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my god. Whatever.
You need to have testosterone to really appreciate
I think
the
so.
full plethora of boobies.
Yeah.
Like, it just we can appreciate all types.
Right. Yeah. because that's a thing that we have as men,
Yes, absolutely.
Anywho, what else were we gonna talk about?
Crazy
yeah.
Gold Medallions.
Yeah, oh yeah. So I want to see it again, and this also made me want to watch the rest of his movies that I haven't seen. I still have not seen Dunkirk. I haven't seen Tenet. I haven't seen Memento or The Prestige, which are all Christopher Nolan movies.
Yeah, I saw Dunkirk, and Dunkirk was, I think I told you before we started, I don't remember much dialogue of Dunkirk, but I remember how the movie made me feel.
Right.
I mean, Dunkirk is a fucking war movie.
Yeah.
It is a war movie specifically about that particular moment in time. And he did a fucking phenomenal job on presenting that moment in time. He puts you in the fucking cockpit of Spitfires flying over the beaches in Dunkirk. He puts you on the ships during the attempted evacuations. Like, it was intense. It was the shooting of it was fucking amazing. Like, it was a great movie, and I saw it in fucking IMAX.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. You should definitely see it, and you should see it like with the lights off and you're on the best screen you could possibly see it. Because and sit there and shut up. don't try to. Don't get distracted. Just sit there, watch it the whole way through, because I don't know a lot about Christopher Nolan, but I do know that, like, based on that experience, like with Dunkirk and what we just saw with Oppenheimer, I can tell you that if he's trying to provoke these feelings out of you based on these experiences, then he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
He's legit.
Yeah. So why don't we go ahead and talk some more details about Oppenheimer? So obviously this is a movie about, J. Robert Oppenheimer, and the whole developing of the first nuclear weapon, and him basically setting up the Los Alamos facility.
Right.
But, it starts off, you get some very brief clips of him in his youth. We had like long hair, and, he was, what the fuck was that? Was that you?
Oh, I turned that's the lightsaber. Sorry.
Yeah, where he's like working at a university or whatever, or he's going to a university,
right?
And you get these real brief,
it's like he was in grad school.
Yeah. And then it very quickly moves to him, being at the one fucking place where he was at, where the military folks come in and basically recruit him to lead Los Alamos, or to lead the whole Manhattan Project, for that matter.
Wow, you covered a lot of ground just then.
Right.
And in reality, it shows how he found his way towards quantum physics.
Yes, that's what it was.
And finding his way, like, what it showed was him, like, as a scientist, like, his thinking, like, he knew that there were parts of physics and quantum mechanics. Like, he knew that those things were out there, and he was seeking out other professors and physicists and people that were studying along those lines, so that he could like, okay, I'm thinking of these things. I need to find somebody that's going to help bring this out of me. And so he gravitated toward those people, whether they were in England or whether they were in Germany,
right,
or in Denmark. Like, he was going to those places to be able to study under those people, to be able to make his knowledge that much more complete, to go back to America with. And then this is all the way up until the late 30s,
right,
as Hitler is coming to power and everything else at the same time.
Yeah, and you're seeing that kind of like running in parallel as he's going to these universities and he's doing these studies. You see, like, at one point they see a headline like Hitler invades Poland, kind of thing, and he's aware of some of the atrocities that are going on specifically against Jewish people, right, because that's a big driver of his, is the fact that he was of Jewish descent,
right,
as well as some of these other professors that he was working with.
Yeah, he is
and
Jewish,
scientists.
Yeah, he is Jewish, but he was born in New York.
Yeah,
right. So I can't remember if his parents were from Germany. directly, and then they emigrated. But we know Oppenheimer was actually born in New York.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he was Jewish, and his Jewish heritage is like a real big driver of his when it comes to, you know, the race against the Nazis, essentially, that this becomes. Because they, right before they, you know, get recruited into the military, they're in the college, and they see another article about how the Germans had successfully like enriched uranium or something. They had done something with nuclear power, and they're like, okay, well, this is the, you know, the precursor to them eventually making a bomb. And that's when, you know, the alarms got raised, and when the US is like, fuck, we gotta get into this fight. And, you know, Oppenheimer at the time he was very pro building these nuclear bombs. But that's where, you know, you start to see the conflicts. And then, of course, in the aftermath, the regret, because in the very beginning, when he's first recruited, the war's still going. You know, it's not a done deal. And as time's going on, as they're developing this nuclear bomb, it's, you know, we get to the one point where the Germans were defeated. They're like, okay, fucking Germany's done, so we're not really racing against them anymore. But the government still wanted to keep pushing with making the bomb. And, you know, it's like, okay, well, you know, now it's just down to us and Japan. And, you know, our experts are even saying that defeat of Japan is inevitable. You know, do we still need to go ahead with the fucking nuclear bomb? And that's where you get into like the real meat of the, you know, the intellectual part of this whole story, is that the inner conflict with Oppenheimer himself, where he's, you know, debating like, should we even keep doing this? Is there any point to doing this? And then, of course, in the aftermath of the Trinity test and them dropping the bombs, and then the regret that goes along with that, and you know, wanting to then get involved with you know, the pulling back. What was it? The nuclear, or the commission, the fucking
The Atomic Energy Commission.
Yeah, the Atomic Energy Commission, wanting to get involved with that and starting to taper down our research and not like push it higher to like the hydrogen bomb, which was a big part of the story.
Yeah. So again, you made it. That was the short version.
Yes.
But the gist of it is correct, right? So I think another big thing to remember is when you're talking about all these scientists that he recruited, like Oppenheimer was by reputation a project manager.
Yeah.
Right. The reason they select Oppenheimer during this, despite, and you know, when we talk about security clearances and stuff like that, he had these under rumblings of associations with the Communist Party, you know.
Oh yeah.
And
they show scenes where he actually goes to a
Right.
Communist Party. That's where he meets Florence Pugh's character.
Right. And so his personal politics and things like that are obviously troubling to the United States government when they're looking at somebody who has basically brought the science. They were working on nuclear technology, and that's the biggest thing to take away from it, is like he didn't invent nuclear fusion. No, he wasn't at the forefront of fusion or fission or anything like that. But he brought this, you know, one of the bringers of this new way of thinking back from Europe at the time, without having to liberate a scientist. But by the way, since he did interact with some of these scientists that did want to get out of Germany's grasp, and like, oh, we'll come back to work with Oppenheimer. Like, we'll get this guy out, you know, these prominent scientists, so that we can recruit them to our cause.
Or even, and you know, some of the scientists like that he encountered early on, the one guy in particular, Heisenberg, he's the guy that would like continue to work it for the Germans.
Right. And so you had a lot of these people with questionable politics and stuff like that, still like knowing that, okay, we have a common goal here, and Oppenheimer, while he's going to be a pain in the ass and we're going to have to watch him carefully, he's still the right guy to fucking lead this project.
Yeah.
Because he knows the science and can get the people together that need to be able to, all the smart people in the room, right? Yeah. Did he write all the fucking code? Did he build all the things? No. But he's the guy who, at the end of the day, without him running the project and not sleeping and chain smoking, and this is one of the things that like Cillian Murphy fucking, or is it Cillian or Killian?
I asked that same question. According to Rob, it's Killian.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So Cillian Murphy, loses however much weight he needs to lose to fucking play this part, because Oppenheimer was emaciated.
Yeah.
Like they allude to it in a movie, like when his friend is like, "Here, eat something."
Yeah.
Like, because you never see him eating.
Yeah, he looks so sickly and
because he's just constantly just on the move. And I've read other books where it talked about him. I think he had ulcers and some other.
Oh, I fucking believe it.
Gastro issues.
Yeah.
that he battled, and so he's somebody who ran himself into the ground to make sure that a project got done. But he was always going to be the smartest guy in the room, and he was going to get the project done, and that's why he needed to be the guy.
Yeah.
Like, he was the smartest guy in the room. He knew who he needed to be in the room with him to make the fucking project get done. And at the end of the day, that's who they needed in a race to fucking beat somebody else who, like, Germany at the time had the head start. They had the scientists and they had the wherewithal. But what they snuck into the movie is something that was very subtle, but it was really poignant, was they had anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
As a buffer. Like, because a lot of those scientists were of Jewish descent, Hitler was reticent about fucking following. Like, okay, here they could have gotten a lot further with a lot of their technologies if he hadn't been such a goddamn fucking evil, racist human being.
Yeah.
And that ends up working in the rest of the world's favor, because it slows that down and enables the United States to be able to, like, all right, let's get the people in place to be able to catch up to this and get scientists and get the right people in the fucking room to be able to do this thing.
Yeah.
And Oppenheimer was the guy to fucking do it. And he was the guy who was going to drive himself into the fucking ground to get it done, because it was his people.
Yep.
Right. It was affecting him directly because it was his people, and it was his country.
Yeah.
Right. So it was really the other way around. It was his country and his people.
Yeah.
And regardless of his politics, one thing that they did display in the movie, which, I mean, there was part of me that believes that it might be some rhetoric on the side of, like,
well, I mean, it's Hollywood. There's
right,
going to be a little bit of a left spin on everything.
Well, no, what I'm worried about is, like, how much of this with Oppenheimer is the actual, like,
just embellished by Hollywood.
yeah.
I mean, you're going to get a level of that, because it's like no movie is going to be 100% historically accurate without throwing in some Hollywoodisms to make the movie a little more interesting.
Yeah, I think that there's probably some stuff where I'd love to do some more. I've actually got a book in my audio library right now that I think is going to open up some more of that.
Yeah.
Well, a little bit more of the science in
I
it.
will say I watched a YouTube video, and for the most part, like, it's very historically accurate. And it was mostly the videos focusing on the Oppenheimer versus Louis Strauss, and that's kind of what the second half of the movie is involved in. But most of that stuff was all true, which I didn't realize. I didn't realize that there was this kind of big beef between the two of them, and then a lot of subtle backstabbing going on behind the scenes.
I believe it, right? Because ultimately he was, once this thing is built, right? Once this thing is built and it's done, now they have this capability. Whether they use it or not, at this point, like, once you've made the weapon, that once the genie's out of the bottle, and you
Yeah.
know, I know that I've read stuff with Einstein talking to Oppenheimer. They made it seem a little bit more cordial than I think it really was, like
Oh,
in
really?
other stuff that I've read. But the Einstein wasn't on board with the bomb, right? That's one of the reasons he wasn't directly involved in it,
Right.
Like because of the consequence of actually making the bomb is now that you have this thing.
Yeah. You've given the world the power to destroy
Right.
themselves.
Right, and it will change the world, and it did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right or wrong, it changed the world, just its existence.
I mean, fuck. It's like directly impacting so many things that are happening, geopolitically right now. Between our fucking beef with China and Russia, and how if anything fucking went down, the nukes could start flying at any moment, and then that the whole world is going to be
Well, it's
different.
Yeah, it's so much more basic than even that.
Yeah.
But saying that, talking about the bomb itself and getting the bomb built, bringing the smartest people on, like, okay, here's this guy with incendiaries, like here's the guy that's going to build the explosives, here's the ideas, and like they alluded to a small bit on actual refinement, like, hey, here's how far we can get with plutonium, here's how far we get with the uranium.
Right. And another thing that they didn't really touch on was the other locations. As part of the Manhattan Project, they focused strictly on Los Alamos, but like all of the different locations were doing pivotal parts of this whole.
Yeah, they kind of glossed over it when on the chalkboard he said, okay, here you got this going in Tennessee, with Oak Ridge and these other places.
And there was one in Washington State too.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. Fuck.
Yeah. A guy I work with now is from that town in Washington that was part of the Manhattan Project.
Okay. Yeah, but it's fascinating to another fascinating part. Like World War II, so much got fucking going because of the immediacy of this.
Yeah.
And let's sidebar onto this for a second.
Okay.
Right? Because the necessity of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 years, however many, like, what do you say? 3 years, $2 billion, something like that is what the general had said.
$2 billion in 1940.
Right.
Yeah,
Insane amount of money. You might as well say a gajillion, badillion dollars.
Yeah.
Like,
that's like saying I want a bajillion dollars.
Right. You might as well it's nonsense.
Uh-huh.
But if you think about what had actually happened with Pearl Harbor in 1941, right? This is the United States is still, like, you think about it, in 1941, we were coming out of the Depression. In World War I, we really didn't make a huge name for ourselves. We weren't a global superpower.
No, not yet anyway.
No, we weren't. We weren't even close until fucking World War II. I think we were like 5th or something like that. It was something ridiculous. Like, we weren't even close.
Right.
So, but Japan knew what we would be capable of, which is why they went with the first strike.
Yeah.
You know,
and then of course the sleeping giant quote.
Right.
After that.
But they bombed, they found a part. This is where the United States is based. This is the closest part of the United States that Japan could reach with any reasonable accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a severe amount of damage.
Oh yeah.
To the United States. They just didn't realize how quickly we'd be able to recover from it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we pulled out, like, there's no dollar amount. There's no like, oh, well, we only have the budget for this, or we have to go fucking this is we have to use GWAT money for this, or like we're pulling op plan money for that. Like, there's none of that bullshit.
Yeah.
It was like, this is what we need to do to win the war. This is what we're going to spend. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Because they fucking came on our territory and they punched us in the mouth.
Yeah.
So anything they were going to need to do to stop the war, they were going to do. And oh, by the way, this is fighting an enemy where in Germany you had a lot of troops, but your casualty rate was actually higher in the 8th Air Force with the bomber missions that were flying over Germany than they were with the ground forces. Significantly more.
Okay.
Your casualty rate. In Japan, there were Marines dying, or in the Pacific, the Marines were dying by the thousands trying to take land back that Japan decided to take.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just how many people can we put on this beach to take what the Japanese had taken? And the Japanese were not, they were to the last man.
Yeah. And they did bring that up in Oppenheimer too.
Yeah.
What it was going to take to occupy Japan.
Yeah, because it was extremely relevant. The cost of what it would have been, and when you talk about, you get to the point where, all right, we tested the bomb, right? Now we have it, and what are we going to do with it? Just the idea that the bomb exists, is it going to be enough? Well, no, of course not.
Yeah, you have to show it.
Yeah, because we killed more people with the fucking firebombing in Tokyo. They alluded to that too in the fucking movie. Like anybody that's a student of World War II will tell you that the firebombing in Tokyo destroyed and killed more innocents than both atomic weapons did.
Yeah.
It took a lot more resources to fucking do it.
Right.
And it's just way more horrific. The idea with having one aircraft dropping one bomb and doing that much destruction, this is what we're going, one singular. This is what this is going to do, and we're going to do it again. Right now, think about what you're going to do. There's the operation that was going to take place 1 November, right? So surrender of Japan, or I'm trying to think of when Hiroshima happens. It's like 4 or 5 August, I think.
Okay.
5 August of 45.
Yeah, I'll have to take your word for it.
So come 1 November, in the middle of the beginning of the typhoon season, they're going to have Operation Downfall, right? And basically, it's the beginning of the invasion of Japan, mainland Japan. And it's going to require, probably at the end state, almost 5 million troops. Like the numbers are insane. But as late as, I'm going to quote this is from history.navy.mil, right? By late July, the Joint Chiefs were forecasting 500,000 casualties at the high end, 100,000 at the low end.
Just for the invasion of Japan.
Yeah. For Operation Downfall. That was the first of 3 operations. The War Department provided an estimate that the entire downfall operations, not just the Navy's portion, the entire downfall operations would cause between 1.7 to 4 million U.S. casualties.
God damn.
Including 400,000 to 800,000 dead and 5 to 10 million Japanese dead. That's for Operation Downfall.
Insane.
And that initial downfall plan called for 1,792,700 troops to go ashore in Japan. You're talking about an invasion force that my grandfather would have been a part of.
Yeah.
As a paratrooper who jumped in as part of the liberation force in the Philippines, the 503rd Parachute Regiment was his next assignment as he was moving up the chain. Right, he was in Leyte Gulf, and then he was on Corregidor, and he was moving up. Their next assignments were going to be as part of the invasion force in Japan. It was on paper. That's what they were going to be doing in November.
Yeah.
So the chances of a paratrooper who's basically first into that situation surviving, I tried to run the numbers and I couldn't.
Right.
I couldn't run the probabilities. because they're astronomically low.
Right. And you're essentially alluding to, would Dave Martin be here today if his grandfather had to take part in that?
As it was, I was already like, my existence is already pretty fucking improbable by having one grandfather who was, a paratrooper in the Pacific, and having the other grandfather in the 8th Air Force in B-24s, who's survived. Again, there was a 50% casualty rate in B-24s, early on in the war, in 43 when he was on B-24s flying missions, right? I think he flew 22 missions.
Jeez.
Right? So what are the chances?
Yeah.
Like, they're fucking ridiculous. And it's just, it's crazy to me to hear somebody say, like, that the bombs weren't necessary.
Right.
Right? Because what would have been, right? Just, I mean, war is unnecessary. Right? Like, it's like, let's start there. Let's not have Japan invade other countries' sovereignty. Let's do that.
Sure.
But since we're not going to do that, and they're going to do those things, and they're going to go into China, and they're going to fucking just basically burn and pillage and rape like they're the fucking Mongolians in the fucking 16th century.
Goddamn Mongolians.
Like, so they're going to do that, and we're just going to let them. No. I mean, no, you're not going to do that. And by the way, they're also going to, while they're doing that, and we're kind of sitting there waiting because we're trying to bide our time and doing whatever conspiracy theory you want, whether we knew it was going to happen, whether or not, whatever, go fuck yourself. Yeah. The reality is they came and they fucking bombed Pearl Harbor. Now you came and you punched us in the fucking mouth. Now what? This is what the United States is built on. You punch us in the mouth, we're going to fucking fight back. And we did. Right. And we continue to do this. Yeah. And if we knew, that, hey, Germany was working on the fucking bomb. Now, oh, fuck, we got to work on the fucking bomb because, goddamn well that the fucking Hitler would have used it.
Oh, hell yeah.
There's no chance in hell that he wasn't going to use it.
Yeah.
Because if that meant him winning or losing, he was going to fucking win.
And, kind of like pivoting back to the Oppenheimer part, I feel like him and some of the other scientists there really thought that they would have more of a say in how it was used. But, once you're military contractors, essentially, you're put in here and paid to do this job. What happens with the end result is you're out of that process. That's for Truman and others to make that decision.
Yeah. And look, Oppenheimer is a very extreme example of something that everyone in the military has had to come to terms with in one form or another. Again, Oppenheimer is at the most extreme because that changed the world. That changed everything. Yeah. That is a wrinkle in time that has changed everything. But every single person that has ever served has had to deal with the fact that in some capacity or another, that their service is affecting something and they have a small part in the kill chain. Yeah. Right. Some people are closer to that kill than others. Yeah. But
we're all part of the process.
Every single person has to, no, I'm not part of that. I work in finance. Okay, well, you're processing the fucking paperwork, the travel voucher of that fucking dude who just got back from a fucking mission where he just shot somebody in the fucking face. Yeah. Right? And you're making sure he gets paid and compensated for that. Right? You can't wash your hands of that and be in the fucking in the military. Yeah. You can't do it. And if you think that you don't bear some responsibility for that, then you shouldn't be in the fucking military. You just shouldn't. Like, that's why we're fucked up. That's why we all have to fucking deal with those issues, because at some point we've all had to in our brain go like, all right, this is This is part of it.
Yeah.
Right. This is what my service meant. This is the sacrifice I was willing to make.
Yeah.
And everyone that has been involved in this has to do the same thing. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
and, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't stop with service people, because we've got these military contractors. And even today, we have programs in place that are very similar to what we saw in Oppenheimer, where you have scientists. You have some of the best scientists in the country working on essentially new weapons for the government.
Yeah.
You know, so that's still going on to this day.
Yeah, weapons research and development has advanced so much of the technology of our time.
Yeah.
I mean, in World War II especially. I mean, think about it. Like, people that have went into internment camps, you know, and you know, I think I talked about it last week when I was reading Indestructible, the, you know, Pappy Gunn's family that went in and fucking in a Japanese and basically in a camp in the Philippines, right? In the Japanese prison camp, and then they get out in 45. The world is so fucking different.
Yeah.
They're like, what the fuck? Airplanes are different. Everything's fucking different. Right? It's like, and war facilitated that.
Yeah.
Right? These things had to happen. Battleships get bigger. Fucking aircraft carriers turn into fucking a thing. You know, like, radar becomes fucking way more prevalent and accurate, you know, technologies.
Neil deGrasse Tyson has a lot of clips and stuff of his talks where he talks about, you know, the military is a huge reason for scientific advancement. You know, over the years, going all the way back to like Copernicus, selling the telescope to you know, the military of the time so that they could see ships from far away and see if they were friendly or not. Yeah, you know, it's
refracting lenses. You know, were developed for. We're going to who was it? What war was that? Where he lined up mirrors to burn the ships as they came in. They basically used giant mirrors as fucking lasers and burned ships as they came in.
I don't remember that at all. I've never heard that story.
God damn it. Anyway, yes, but you're absolutely correct. We're talking about this, and the reason I wanted to bring this up was because this movie and what it did for me, especially, is this man throughout the entire process of this, when he committed himself to the war effort, right? Knowing full well that, hey, if I'm going to do this, I'm doing it so that Hitler doesn't get this, or doesn't get it before we do.
Yeah.
And damn the torpedoes, I'm the right guy to do it. Right? However, he got to that place in the scientific community. He obviously got there. We watched it happen in the movie. And it obviously really happened because it fucking really happened.
Yes.
Right? So we watched this man get to this point, but he knows throughout the entirety of this process that if this comes to fruition, and Kitty mentions it too at some point, like if you do what you were intending to do, everything changes.
Yeah.
Everything. So he knew full well before he ever got to that point. And so what you're seeing in some of these shots, like where he's having almost like these tremors and seeing these visions and things like that, he's already dealing with this before the test ever happens.
Right.
Like he's having to deal with, like, they're so flippant about the possibility of the fucking world ending by, you know, igniting the entire fucking.
Oh yeah. Thinking that the reaction just doesn't stop and just disintegrates the whole Earth.
You know, it's funny. It reminded me of, I think what was it? Was it 2008? I think. Was it 2008, 2009? I want to say it was early 2000s. They one of the colliders, they were saying
when they invented the Hadron Collider.
Right. That the collider was going to fucking somehow
create a black hole
and the fucking world was going to come to an end. It's just like, I mean, the chances I guess are never zero, right? So
chances are near zero.
So fuck it. You know, it's like whatever.
What do you want from theory alone?
Yeah, just fuck it. Just go for it. But the movie, I think it pressed us into this idea, like, okay, he had to deal with this going the whole way forward, even though the scientists were trying to deal with it in their way. They're like kind of like they're having meetings and they're talking about it amongst themselves. And he wasn't really a part of those meetings. He was dealing with everything and internalizing it, and it was killing him. Obviously.
Yeah.
Like, and it just and trying to also deal with, you know, like he was obviously a womanizer and dealing with all this other you know, political bullshit or whatever. But he was so task focused that it's like, no, regardless of anything else, like this is the job that has to get done, and I'm gonna fucking get it done.
Yep. So can we talk about the Trinity test real quick?
Yeah,
because I know we're already getting pretty deep in. So they had a couple of moments before we got to the actual Trinity test where they were testing like an implosion, and they were just doing some simple tests. But the way that they did it with the sound was fucking brilliant, and it was a great foreshadowing for what we got in the Trinity test. And that was when, you know, they'd be behind some bunkers, they'd do the fucking explosion. It was a pretty big explosion. Obviously it wasn't a nuke, but you know, the explosion happens, and it mimicked reality where you see the explosion, then you hear it, you know, a second later because of the speed of sound versus the speed of light.
right.
And movies don't typically do that, right? When you have a movie explosion, it's all boom, you hear the explosion and you see the fireball and all that. That's not the reality. Right? Depending on how far you are from it, you're going to hear it, you know, significantly more or after you see it.
Right.
And they did that with those two tests. They like deliberately put that pause in there. And then you heard the boom from the explosion, which leads us up to the fucking Trinity test.
Right.
Where they took that theory and then just like drove it up to 11.
It's called the Doppler effect.
Yeah.
That's the name of the actual effect. But yeah, they definitely, it's funny. I didn't pick that up when they were doing the practice, when they were testing the explosives.
Yeah.
But now that you say that, yeah, it's true. They kind of keyed us in.
Yeah.
Like, for that,
because
funny.
when the Trinity test comes,
excuse me,
you know, it's this massive buildup, because that's the thing too about this movie is it's building towards this Trinity test that you know is coming eventually, which is still at like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something like that into the movie. There's still like 45 minutes after that, but you know, it's building and building and building, and we get this long drawn out sequence where the timer's counting down from a couple of minutes,
which I loved. By the way, I loved looking at that old school fucking, like, that illuminated like countdown timer.
Yeah.
Like, because in my head I'm like, God, they must have known exactly what type of equipment that was and modeled it exactly after what it would have been, like, to show for the countdown. And having Josh from Drake and Josh, right? Did you recognize that kid?
No.
So you know who Drake and Josh are from Nickelodeon?
No.
Your kids are, I guess your kids aren't really the right age, but
must not be.
So, and maybe somebody in the chat will recognize it too. The kid who was there at the abort button.
Oh yeah,
right.
Like his hand shaking.
Yeah, because if it went below 1 volt, he was supposed to push the button.
Yeah,
and he could have stopped the test.
Yeah,
at any point if you wanted to. But yeah, that kid was in this. He was, when he was a kid, was in a show called Drake and Josh. He was like a heavyset kid.
Okay.
But yeah, I recognized his face a couple of times when I saw him. I'm like, man, that looks like him. Yeah. Then after the movie, I looked it up and it turns out it was him.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, somebody in the chat probably recognizes him.
Yeah, and so yeah, during that the Trinity test, so it's like just this massive build up with the countdown and everything else and the lights and just it all built up to it. It fucking 2, 1, 0, boom. You see the flash. You see, and it's like dead silent. Right, like it's or there's like maybe like a high pitched sound a little bit, but for the most part it's like dead silence as you're seeing everybody react to the flash, or turning around to look at it through the welder's glass, and all of that. But it's just like silence for a long time, like far longer than it would actually take the Doppler effect to get to them. But they really drove that home, just like how. Everybody's like absorbing what the hell happened and watching the fucking just the big plume of smoke going into the air and just like this massive destruction going on. And then it got to a point where I'm like, are we not going to hear anything? Is it just going to kick back into normal sound because it was silent for so long,
Right.
And then you finally get the boom, the fucking just the massive. It was like scary how fucking just sudden and jarring it was after that like long stretch of silence as everybody's reacting to the explosion. It was fucking insane, but so well done.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because if I don't know if you have some idea like how long that should take, like when that time has passed, you're like you were saying, like, is this, how long are they gonna go without hearing this?
Yeah.
Right. So then you're like, it's in between time. Like nobody could anticipate when it was actually going to hit them.
Yeah.
And it was perfect because I don't think there was, unless you had seen it prior, nobody knew when that fucking sound was going to hit you.
Yeah. But you always knew. You knew it was coming.
It had to come at some point.
Yeah. And then like you have that moment of doubt where you're like, is it going to come? And then just.
And I will say, like, so we talked about the sound earlier about, it being an IMAX and needing to hear it for the sound.
Mm-hmm.
This experience is part of that reason.
Oh yeah.
For getting that. But there's also earlier experiences with like ringing and other things. Like he uses deprivation, like he uses sound as a deprivation tool for what's going on around.
Yep.
That is actually really impressive because it's like if you have, I don't know. I guess because I have some issues like that. Like it's like when you're having like an episode of that nature, like you have things like blank out, like where you don't hear what's going on around you, and it's not overwhelming. It's just like deadened.
Yeah.
And they use the sound like in the IMAX. It makes you feel like you're kind of in like a weird sound environment, but you don't really hear anything.
Right.
And I don't think you could do that in a regular fucking theater. I think you'd have to, that RDX thing or RPX thing. I don't know that it would simulate that because there's so much bass in that RPX that I don't know if it could get the same effect.
Yeah.
That you could without some very specific, like, maybe a Dolby theater could do it, but I think you have to have some very specific things because it's using the sound to create an effect that's making it almost seem like you're in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And
it like sucks all the noise out of the fucking theater.
Yeah, it's and that's a huge part of it. It's not just how loud something can be, like the intensity of this fucking shockwave hitting you, but it's also what the vacuum and the lack of sound that they use in this movie as part of like just depriving you of some sensation.
Yeah. And after the Trinity test, like I said, that there was still about 45 minutes of the movie left, that's when it pivoted to this conflict between Lewis Strauss and Oppenheimer. And, there's a whole other big story that goes on between those two. Between apparently Strauss taking it personal when Oppenheimer made him look like an idiot.
Yeah. Before we get too far from it, we just talked about the test, right?
Yeah.
So we've had in the studio this piece of Trinite, and Jason had no idea what this was, and I know we talked about this on the show when I first brought it on.
That was years ago.
That was years ago. Yeah. This is an actual piece of Trinite from basically ground zero of that explosion on July 16th, 1945. And it basically like I'll read a description, which is it'll describe it best. And you can hold it up. And this is something that my dad actually got. There's a certificate of authenticity that comes with it because there are some fake things, but
it's like a little rock.
Yeah, it's just like so contained within the glass are melted bits of the first atomic bomb and support structures and various radionuclides that formed during the detonation. The glass itself is marvelously complex at the tens to hundreds of micrometers scale. And besides glasses of varying glasses of varying composition. It also contains unmelted quartz grains. Air transport of melted material led to the formation of spheres and dumbbell-shaped glass particles. Similar glasses are formed during all ground-level nuclear detonations and contain forensic information that can be used to identify the atomic device. So this was from the 2010 article in Geology Today by some guy from the University of Massachusetts.
So now it's all making sense.
Yeah. So that's what that is. And there's I think there's like an illegal market about it, but there's actually some geology stores that were selling it legally. And yeah, like I said, there's a certificate of authenticity that goes with it, but
Sweet.
it's fucking cool. Cause it's mildly more radioactive than any other piece of dirt, but
Sure.
for us, honestly, it's not dangerous at all. And, your smoke detector probably is more radioactive,
Oh, I'm not concerned.
And we've been exposed to more radiation than this, just
Exactly.
in airplanes than any of that. So
Yeah.
anyway, before we get into the Strauss bit,
Okay. You got to pee?
I gotta pee.
All right. Much like I had to in the beginning of the movie. All right, yeah, go ahead, because we're actually getting pretty long on time here. So go pee, and we'll be right back after this very, very quick word from our sponsors. I would try to get caught up on the chat, but Jesus Christ, there's a lot to get through. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to get caught up. So yeah, somebody mentioned that, yeah, there is some new blank spots here in the Black Series wall because, if you see over here, Dave moved some pops out. So now I am able to spread the Black Series out a little bit farther, freeing up some spaces over here, which, don't worry, they'll be filled within a couple of weeks for sure. You know what we can do while Dave's gone? Motherfucker. We can open this guy up. So yeah, this is the Scout Trooper, the Riot Scout Trooper, from Jedi Survivor. You can see a shield back there behind him. Yeah, the Scout Troopers that have the shields, you fight them pretty early on in the game, and they're really fun to fight. Because you can force grab their shields and bring it to you, and you can then launch said shield right back at him or at a group of troopers. It's really fun. You all right? I was opening up the Riot Scout Trooper.
Nice.
Oh, look, just hold him. Just look at the fucking detail. It's just they've done so well with these Black Series figures. I don't understand why they're still making 3 3/4 inch figures. They're still pumping those out too, but why not just stick with the Black Series?
Well, because you can't make vehicles that'll be appropriately. Look at the fucking boots.
I know.
Look at the goddamn boots. Look at the tread on the boots. It's got more tread on those boots than I did on my combat boots.
Yep. Let me see him real quick. I'm gonna put the shield on him. Yeah. No, it's phenomenal. The detail in these figures. And so I've actually already thought ahead about the vehicle situation, So what it's going to have to be whenever I have my grandchildren and we play with our dolls together is
Right.
I'm going to have to get smaller scale vehicles for our space battles, like your TIEs and stuff up there.
Okay.
And that's how we're going to simulate space battles with these grandchildren that don't exist.
Fair enough.
But hold on, let me just get this in his hand. Oh yeah, he's got the fucking shock stick. Look at that, with the fucking zzz on the end.
Like you said, man, I love kicking the shit out of those guys.
Yeah, in Jedi Survivor. So, I hope Bronco Fett's still in the chat. Jason, send me some Jedi Survivor clips so I can see. That's the thing. I haven't been trying to record or anything. I don't think my Xbox is even set up right now to do any recording or streaming or anything. So I don't know.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Well,
That center button.
Mm-hmm.
That button that's in between. So your home button,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a button directly above it.
Yeah.
So if you press that once, it'll take a screenshot,
Okay.
right? If you press and hold it, it'll take a clip.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. And you can go into your settings and adjust how long that clip is going to be.
I'll be damned.
It sets that as a default.
No
That's
shit.
so like the clips I send to Lunar Girl,
Uh-huh.
that's how that is.
Well, how do you get them off of your Xbox?
So if you go into your like put Xbox app on your phone,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then it'll be in your library
Oh.
on your Xbox app.
I'll be goddamned.
Because you'll get a little notification that says, "Oh, your game clip has been uploaded," right?
Huh. How about that? Yeah, I don't think I have the... Oh, I do have the Xbox app on here.
Yeah, so like when you go into my library, then it's
Ha! Can you record your voice while you're doing it too?
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll do some experimenting this next weekend, Kelly, and I'll let you know.
Oh, this is me. This is me flushing the toilet.
I see.
Because you can go and flush the refresher in.
All right. Well, we got to wrap this up because it's already.
Do you have your magic pills?
No, I'm not gonna have that yet.
All right. Fair enough. What is happening?
You're making a lot of loud noise. All right, give us a countdown whenever you're ready.
As soon as I could make this stop making noise.
Me so horny.
All right. Capture card for the voice. I gotcha.
Do it live! Do it live!
And we're back. Ugh.
That is piercing.
So, like I said, the last, 40, 45 minutes of the movie more focused on this conflict between Oppenheimer and Strauss post Trinity test.
Right.
And it also dealt a lot with his guilt, his post Trinity or his post nuclear weapons guilt and where the country's headed or where the world is headed at that point.
Right.
And like, I don't know how much we want to get into this. It's all very intriguing. I know Rob mentioned to me after the movie that he got kind of bored during that part, but like I found it like very fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, this whole kind of personal conflict between.
Well, and it's something we didn't. I don't know. You might have mentioned it. I can't remember if you did or not. I probably wasn't paying attention.
What's that?
This entire story is being told almost like as part of its overview of his testimony.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Because
So the setup that ends up being revealed, right, is as you're kind of getting almost a sidebar of a sidebar.
Yeah.
Like he's in what's his nuts? Fucking Strauss is in his confirmation hearing, right?
So you see in a cabinet position, yeah.
right, for being a cabinet secretary. And during that, they're flashing back to this hearing with there was basically some kangaroo court hearing about fucking the security clearance for Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, because he was up for renewal, and this was almost like a little inquiry.
Right.
Because it wasn't a trial; it was just
which
they specifically kept saying this isn't a trial. You know, this is just like a hearing or an inquiry about renewing his security clearance.
which is complete. Like I can't. So these guys had like one thing they did, and we didn't talk about it yet, but so they had the security clearances. You saw them; they had like buttons on, right? They had buttons that designated their, like, this is the clearance level this individual has,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Like you saw like K6, he had on K6 for a while, then they handed him a badge that showed he had like a higher clearance or whatever. And we've been in this situation, right? We've been in we've been in plenty of rooms where it's like, oh, you're not read into this program, so
Get the fuck out.
yeah, here's this badge. We're gonna turn on a flashing light that says like, okay, there's somebody in the room that's not cleared. Don't say shit you're not supposed to. Or vice versa, right?
Yep.
So we've definitely been in that situation, but because you're talking about the most secret of national security things, the idea of a tribunal like this with you have a lawyer present, but there's no disclosure or anything like that.
Yeah, they don't have to follow trial rules because this isn't a trial.
But that's honestly, in today's world, can never get away with that shit.
Yeah.
Never. Because even with your security clearance, there's still laws and there's still rules for disclosure.
But
and
of course, this guy Strauss had so much pull, in Washington and in the military. He was able to create this fucking little inquiry,
right,
essentially as a way to take away Oppenheimer's security clearance and get him off of any of these, like the Atomic Energy Commission or any of that stuff.
They needed to discredit him because Oppenheimer did not want to go forward with the H-bomb.
The hydrogen bomb. And
there were scientists that were, even during the building of the atomic bomb, there were scientists that were working, or the one scientist whose name's escaping me right now. He began with an H.
Yeah,
I can't remember it. But the one scientist that he was like specifically is like, hey, I'll give you a couple hours a week where we'll just sit down and we'll work on your project.
Yeah.
And that scientist ends up turncoating on him and becoming one of Strauss's people, because Strauss was letting him build the H-bomb, because that's what Strauss wanted. Strauss wanted to fucking advance, that, because that's what Truman wanted.
Yeah.
Right? Truman wanted to, okay, we have this, now there's a bigger one? Holy shit, let's get the bigger one, and and so forth. So that's the wagon he decided he wanted to run with. And with Oppenheimer being opposed to it and being the father of fucking the atomic weapon, he had to discredit him somehow.
Yep.
So he did it in the most,
it was shady. It was like a super shady fucking setup.
He was a fucking politician. He was a politician working in a world where, in the naivety of the scientist community. And it was effective.
Yeah. Yeah, because all he had to do was make sure that his security clearance didn't get renewed, and then that was it. Oppenheimer, he couldn't be involved anymore.
Yeah, you're not going to be on the Atomic Energy Commission.
Yeah.
I'm going to discredit you.
Yeah, and that's when, all of the shit about him going to communist parties, him boning fucking Florence Pugh, who was like a hardline communist.
Right.
When all that stuff came up during this, little hearing. So...
Which, his wife knew about, but she was pissed that it fucking now is a matter of public record.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean, Emily Blunt, right? That's Emily Blunt?
Yeah.
Like, her performance in this was fucking great. Like, she's a character where, like she's such a terrible person, but you can also kind of empathize with her a little bit. Like she's like a terrible fucking mother. She was like drinking all day while she's supposed to be home with the kid.
Right.
Like
gone to the kid all fucking day.
It's like, God damn, but at the same time, look at the situation she was in and look at what she had to deal with. And it's like, okay, I could see that. But like, I'm just saying that to say that Emily Blunt's performance was fucking great.
Yeah, I agree.
Like she played this role so fucking well.
Yeah. And especially like when you get to the towards the end where she's being interviewed as part of this tribunal, and I'm calling it a tribunal. I don't know what it's actually called.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they really had a name for it.
Yeah. Because it was all made up.
Yeah.
She initially was like kind of seemed a little bit cowed. And then when the prosecutor started to press her, like got close and kind of in her face, she turned into the Viper and fucking started going after him, and that was great.
Yeah.
Like, and then was brought up in the chat. I forget who had mentioned it, but talking about how when Oppenheimer shook that dude's hand, the turncoat scientist shook his hand after the fucking.
Yeah, and this was like way later too. This is like when they were much older, they were getting an award.
No, he had shook his hand before that. So when in the tribunal, he shook his hand,
and she got all pissed.
And she got pissed. I'm like, what the fuck you shake his hand for? He's one of the bad guys.
Yeah.
Like, why'd you do that? And he's like, guy, you basically calling him, you fucking pussy.
Yeah.
What, are you gonna watch people move your furniture for you too next? You fucking.
But then you get that scene later on that takes place like many years later, where I think it was like Kennedy was giving him an award. And that same scientist came up to them and they shook, like, hey, nice to see you. And then she just would not fucking shake or anything. She's like, just fuck you. She had that look in her eyes like, oh, yeah.
Go fuck yourself, you fuck.
Yep. So, but yeah, it's just, I think this part of the movie was just as good as the rest of it. I mean, obviously nothing can really stand up to the whole building to the Trinity test, but like, I really, really enjoyed this intriguing ending to the movie.
And it wasn't a redemption arc.
No,
right?
Because the final shot is just
yeah.
So
we talk about the Strauss bit. That I wanted to speak to this just because I found it on the Senate.gov website and I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah.
On Senate.gov, when you go under nominations, they have a page specifically for the Senate rejects Louis Strauss nomination.
Oh, no shit.
And President Dwight Eisenhower called it the second most shameful day in Senate history, second only to Andrew Johnson's impeachment trial.
Wow.
Time magazine pronounced it a stinging personal slap. U.S. history's bitterness battle over confirmation of a presidential nomination. Others debated whether it was a legislative lynching or political suicide. Wow. So, yeah, it doesn't specifically mention Oppenheimer in this particular article. It does get into the fact that he was the chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission.
Yeah.
And
at that point, the whole scientific community hated him.
Right. And on one occasion, he angrily stated that New Mexico's Democratic Senator Clinton Anderson, chairman of the Joint Committee on Atomic Energy, had a limited understanding of what is involved in Cold War atomic energy policy. They said this to a sitting senator. That's a bold move, Cotton.
Yep.
Although Anderson never forgave Strauss for that remark, he told the White House he would not stand in the way of his confirmation to the lower profile post as Commerce Secretary. Yeah. Let's see how that worked out.
Yep.
So yeah, at 35 minutes past midnight on June 19th, 1959, in a packed Senate chamber, the Strauss nomination died on a cliffhanging roll call vote of 46 in favor, 49 opposed.
Yep.
Strauss rejection heralded a period of legislative stalemate for the remaining 18 months of President Eisenhower's presidency.
Yep. And of course, they did name drop JFK as one of the opposing senators, and that was true. Apparently, like, he was one of the senators that voted against Strauss.
So, like I said, Oppenheimer wasn't specifically mentioned, but there was definitely, like, if Strauss was trying to represent himself as the brains behind the Atomic Energy Commission to someone who was sitting on that committee in the Senate, probably not a good idea to go ahead and shit talk him.
Yeah.
But yeah, on Senate.gov.
That's great.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So I think this is a good place to stop. I mean, there's so much more that we could get into. And again, I cannot stress enough, is for some reason you're listening to us right now and you have not seen this movie, fucking go see it. It is so good. Christopher Nolan and the way he directed this and the way they cut this movie to the performances, I guarantee we're going to get at least a couple of Academy Awards for this cast for in the acting department.
I would agree. It's what's funny too is this is an Academy Award season where probably they're not even going to have it because of the strike.
Oh, that's true. Imagine. Oh, that would suck. But I normally don't give a shit about that kind of thing. Like, I haven't seen any movie that's won an Academy Award for Best Picture in years. Because I just don't care. I don't care about who wins, best actor, best actress. But right now I do care because this was such a good fucking movie that I would like to see these people recognized for, doing such a great job.
And you know what? I hope that it's promoting discussion. I hope it's getting people to, I don't know, maybe people are think about the history of it a little bit more, understand the this was a person in history and what the weight of that decision or the weight of the responsibility of that individual was.
Yeah, and again, the final shot of the movie of just him kind of staring into that pond, basically knowing that he just changed the world for probably the worst.
Yeah. But if he didn't do it,
then we've already talked about what would have happened in the attempted siege of Japan. So, I mean, at the end of the day, obviously it was justified, and obviously I think it was far better than the other option.
Well, yeah, far better than fucking Hitler doing it.
Yeah. Well, I
Holy
just meant like not bombing Japan and just letting the ground troops try to do.
Because you wouldn't have you most likely wouldn't have Dave, and you definitely wouldn't have fucking Hennifer.
Yeah, that's right. So speaking of her, is she gonna, Miss Lopez? Are you coming out this week? I know it's a little late, but yeah. Hey, there she is.
Did you talk about Babu and how he's back?
We very briefly mentioned it, but yeah, Babu Frick is back in the studio, thanks to Dave and
the miracle of armature wire.
Yeah, so he's back. His neck has never looked better.
Yeah, he's looking very spry.
Yeah, so we're happy to have him back, and we're always happy to have you back, Miss Lopez.
Oh yeah, sure, whatever. Kiss my ass.
What? I'm trying to give you a compliment.
Yeah. You're moving right along.
Whatever. Do you have something for the reads?
Yeah, of course I do.
All right, well, let's hear
Luna
it.
Girl doesn't write this for her health.
Yeah, I suppose not.
The Red 5 Network now has 27 active podcasts and 8 archive pods for a grand total of 35.
I'm 37?
Plus 2. Check out podcast. Check out bio.link/Red5. That's bio.link/Red5. To browse the lineup, there's something for everyone at Red 5 Network. Cantina Family Happenings! Wednesday, ATSW Escape Pod will be pirating our topic discussing Oppenheimer. Just like they pirated Luna Girls and Dave's pictures to Photoshop last week. Lame. They're also going to discuss Barbie. Does that mean they saw Barbie?
I guess. I mean...
Interesting. I mean, I know Brady has daughters.
Yeah, he's got like 8 daughters or something like that.
So he probably should see Barbie.
Yeah.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
Don? Yeah, not so much. Dragon Buddy? Yeah, you gotta wait for that.
Yeah. Well, they have 2 daughters too.
Yeah, but he's a man with the wife.
Okay.
So his wife went and saw Barbie.
Right.
So he doesn't have to.
Oh. But is he still going to be there to talk about it?
Barbie?
Yes.
I mean, I guess. Some pillow talk?
Why are we talking about this?
Did he have some pillow talk about Barbie? Like, oh
Maybe.
my God, the movie was all great. Oh, I love the Barbie. Yeah. Would your Barbie, did you take the heads off the Barbie?
Well, I think at this point, like, maybe just Kelly needs to take his place on the show for the week.
Oh, see, there's an idea. Yeah, steal that idea. It's not really stealing the idea. Oppenheimer's kind of like a relevant thing.
Yeah.
I hate to give those guys a credit or a break or anything, but it's not really their fault.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer's kind of legit.
Yeah.
Everyone should be talking about it.
Indeed. It's just weird that like any other, time, it might have been just like this massive hit all by itself, but we've got the Barbenheimer thing going.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
Oh no, I read that.
You okay? Are you short circuiting? You sounded like an old modem trying to connect.
Dialing in right now. Check out Don Della Snooch, Brady Big Lovin' and Dragon Buddy on Wednesday on YouTube at 19:05, 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Hashtag Hustlers for Hennifer. Hashtag Have is fine. Dave is fine, not Have. Have is fine. as I dial in. Oof, boy. Yeah, Dave is fine. So, I gave a lot of blood today too.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah.
I actually noticed that on Dave's arm, the needle mark.
Yeah.
So
That's not from any illicit anything. That's from all the pre-op testing bullshit. Like, yeah, take all the blood, fuckers. Yeah, fast.
No, not like we need that for anything.
Fast, and then don't eat, don't drink anything, and then we're gonna take all the blood.
Oh, jeez.
And then go to fucking do a bunch of stuff all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, go do that.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a sign in the VA, and like the when they take the blood,
What
and
does
there's
it
a
say?
sign. It's like, beware of wandering patients.
Are you shitting me?
I shit you not. And it's like, what the danger signs of a wandering patient.
What? But oh
Yeah.
my god,
Yeah,
so many questions.
yeah.
Oh.
There's a whole checklist. Like, oh, does this person look like they're wandering?
Oh, yeah, no. And sidebar on that same note, something I noticed when I went into the movie theater to see Oppenheimer this weekend in the
Yeah.
Cherry Hill Theater, there was like a bunch of no firearms signs outside on the fucking doors to walk into the theater. I'm like, why do they have this?
Yeah, no duh.
It's like, what, do you really need a sign that says no firearms? Like, did people just like willy-nilly bring them in?
Well,
Like, I didn't think Cherry Hill was that bad of a place, but
I mean, it's yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
anyway, carry on.
No, we're not going to talk about the social commentary on the location.
Yeah.
But anyway, Sunday, Use and Abuse, we'll be talking about a goofy movie.
I love that fucking movie.
An extremely goofy movie.
I never saw the Extremely one, but I never saw the Goofy movie until my kids were younger, and I fucking love that movie. I don't know why.
Yeah, so you should watch the Sunday show.
I will.
Join Scott, Kim, and Nicole, 2000 8 p.m. Eastern on the YouTubes.
Yeah.
This week, Orange and Fett Show released episode 84, Blast from the Past.
Brendan Fraser, Alicia Silverstone.
Yes. Check out Matt and the brother who never says hi in the chat. Oh, I did. Yeah, that was. I'm sure Lunar Girl was directing that at the guy who doesn't say hi in the chat, who otherwise will name nameless, except very specifically not named.
Okay, so people are talking about the firearms in the movie theater thing. Bronco Fett mentioned in the chat, bringing firearms into the theater is like a huge issue here in Idaho. People do it, and I don't know why. I'm like, Jesus, in Idaho, really? Like, is that an open carry state? I don't know.
If we want to get into this.
Yeah,
Do you remember that Chuck Brinzer?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so his neighbor, right, was shot and killed at a movie theater by some retired detective, some old man who shot and killed him because he said, he wasn't being quiet in the theater, and the movie hadn't even started yet. The guy was talking to his babysitter on the phone.
Jesus Christ.
And the guy was like, rah, 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 and fucking shot the guy.
I know I've almost gotten into a couple of fights over people being loud in theater,
Yeah.
but I've never considered shooting anyone for
Well,
it.
because you haven't had firearms, because you're looking at the sign.
I know, right? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, thank God for the sign.
I know.
Signs everywhere, signs. Yeah, Bronco Fett, get some of those signs and you'll be good to go. Sweet Studios and fucking what a segue was that?
I
Jesus.
know, right?
Sweet Studios and Layman's Terms were both quiet last week, probably because Swede's trying to fucking fix his truck again. Poor bastard. Sweet Studios and Layman's Terms were both quiet last week, probably in shock over the blatant photoshopping of me onto Brabu Frick. Maybe. catch them on the socials and on YouTube. And using the computer is cheating. Yep. Oh, I should know this by heart, and I still need to read it. You can find us at bio.link/the Cantina, where you can find our links to Patreon, YouTube, our audio podcast on Audible. Yeah. Apple, Audible, and Spotify. And all our social media platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Will I not be able to say Twitter anymore? Will I have to say X?
I don't know. I'm not sure how official that is.
Including Twex. Instagram, and Facebook. Twitch with anymore. And TikTok with no big pumps of money.
Are you actually reading something?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Twix.
I don't know what's going on right now.
I'm having a stroke.
It is really hot in here.
It's not that bad. It's been worse.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
The fun clips of video game players. You can also find all of our Spotify music mixtape playlists because music is life, and you know this. Our Discord community is growing. Leave your drama at the door and come hang out with us on there. Also, in our bio link is our TeePublic merch shop. We have our F Cancer and Jason Rose designs, our super sexy Twi'lek, Cyborg Chick, our beloved Hennifer design. That's me. And a couple from a Gen X point of view throwbacks. LG is also working on a new design. There are t-shirts, hoodies, tote bags, phone cases, exclusive stickers, and pins, wallet, magnets, notebooks, laptop cases, pillows! Which is right there.
Yep, right
it's
over
on
there.
the floor right there.
If you come to the celebration, you'll get to see it in person.
It's a celebration. And the pillows. Just about anything you imagine. Make sure you tag us on the social with the Sidebar merch. Reviews!
No new reviews.
Fuckers. Probably for the best, since we're in a hurry.
Yeah.
Luna Girl wants to remind you to please damn when you leave a review, so she can throw some swag your way. She doesn't know a lot of usernames on Audible, so you need to help her. Please write us a 5-star review on Audible or Apple. Don't have an Apple or Audible account? Our Facebook page or review feature two. Just screenshot your review before you hit done and scream us. Why before you hit done? Oh, probably because it disappears.
Yeah.
And DM us the pic on Instagram or Twitter or X or whatever. This is your chance to tell us on your thoughts on our show. Jennifer Lopez, me, or Hank, or Edith, or Mama, or somebody fun will read your review word for word on our next episode. If you're listening to us on audio, please consider joining the live chat on Mondays with the 14 or so people that are still listening to me talk. It's awesome. The chat is most definitely where it's at. If you're new to Sidebar, please subscribe, flick that bean, and select all. Does flicking the bean give you cancer?
We talked about that earlier, and I think the consensus is no.
Oh,
It's
excellent.
scare tactics.
Select all the review notifications when you go live. Remember to hit that like button. It really helps us out. Fuck cancer, and I'm done.
All right, thank you, Miss Lopez.
Bye.
We will not see you next week because
No, you will not.
There's no show next week.
That's right.
Which we forgot to mention at the top of the show.
No show next week.
Yeah, so we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
2 weeks.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
And yes, prior scheduling conflicts is keeping us from having a show next week, but in 2 weeks on August 7th, we will be talking about Jedi Survivor finally.
Finally.
Yeah, like I can't stop fucking like looking at and playing with this fucking Scout Trooper toy, by the way. Like, oh my God, it is like so cool. So much detail. Yeah, you're not
Boots are killing me, man.
Yeah, the fucking actual tread on the bottom of the feet. The Black Series figures are just they're the best. They're the best. And I really hope someday I have somebody to play with them with me. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah,
Don't worry, it'll happen.
My kid's got to get on it. You know, I'm not getting any younger. So, anyway, that's it.
Careful what you wish for, man.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? That's it, guys. Thank you, everybody, for who's still sticking around. Thank you to all of the audio listeners. We love you all.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't think there's really much else to say. Go see Oppenheimer.
Yes. Do it.
Yeah, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Do it.
Do it. Do it.
Little slow on the reaction there, but yes. See you guys in a couple of weeks, and then at Celebration, not long after that.
Celebration.
Yes. So until then, Dave and everybody else, have at you.
Ah!
And say the word.
Okay, now what do I click?